What's good, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the What's Good Games podcast, your source for video game news, commentary, analysis, and funny stuff every Friday. I'm Andrea Renee, joined by Miss Christine Steimer.
Hello.
Hello, Miss Brittany Brombacher is also here.
Hello.
How you doing, ladies?
Fantastic.
Just
I'm
fine.
excited for another recapping of the week.
You know about that, Britt.
Yeah, tell me all about it.
It's a thing. Sometimes we're human and we make mistakes. Welcome to the show, everybody. Whether this is your first episode or your 188th episode of What's Good Games, we are glad that you are joining us for some video game news. And boy, do we've got some interesting things to talk about today. I want to give a big shout out and thank you to this month's Patreon producers: Chewy's Godson, Alex Rigopulos, Faris Attieh, Justin Foshee, Mohammed Mohammed, Marcus Brown, Punkdefied, and Califorunicated. And welcome to our Patreon community: Michael McGrath, Mandy Lowry, Gary Oxborough, Taylor Oyen, and Almost Superman. Don't forget that you guys can be part of the show by going to patreon.com/whatsgoodgames to submit your questions when Britt calls for them every week. And you can also get the show ad-free. That's right, Epic members and above don't have to listen to the ads. If that's the life you want, patreon.com/whatsgoodgames.
It's like ad block, but better.
Yeah, exactly. With lots of other perks.
Yeah.
Brittany, we also have some new podcast reviewers.
We do. We have Liquid Lady, Duffman410, Blackbird Tango, who says, I'm an old lady gamer, and what a time to be alive when I can hear women talking about my favorite things. 30 years of gaming, and I didn't know I needed this. Keep it up.
Oh, sweet.
That's
I know,
so
I thought that
nice.
was really
Thank
sweet.
you. Thanks for
Thank
supporting
you.
the show. Also, Brittany, shout out to this Yakuza shirt that you're wearing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is my Kazuma Kiryu shirt, and it's kind of terrifying, but I think that's why I love it. It's
The
his
middle
face.
one is the most disturbing.
Oh, this
Yeah.
one right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, he never smiles. So someone obviously went in with some face app and added some smiles on this guy because he's always scowling. So, yeah, you guys get to look at this all day, every day. I told Ree, because I think she was the one who was most freaked out by this, that I was going to save it for her, but I just couldn't. The time felt right. You know?
I
So
feel
I'm wearing
ya.
it today. Thanks.
Well,
we
we
also
were-
have two more podcast reviewers.
Oh,
real
yeah,
quick.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. Noctu Noi and Agent Lizard. Blah, 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 blah. My lizard tongue. Blah, blah,
I like it.
blah.
Gross.
Thanks.
Put
It's
it
a
away.
good. It's a good sound. Put it away, says Steimer.
She's like, gross. Put it away. Ew.
Ew. Before we get into the news today, I want to say thank you to this week's sponsors of What's Good Games: Full Sail University, Hawthorne, and AT&T 5G. But we're going to tell you more about them later. For now, let's get into the news. Our first story is straight from Tokyo. Well, not really, technically.
Straight from the internet.
Yeah.
About Tokyo.
About Tokyo Game Show 2020, in fact. Brittany, do you have the full story?
I have the full story. This comes from IGN and is titled Xbox Showcase Announced for Tokyo Game Show 2020. Here's the original story. The full Tokyo Game Show 2020 schedule has been revealed, and an Xbox Tokyo Game Show showcase will kick off the 4-day event. No word on what will be revealed during the Xbox Showcase at TGS, but the schedule says Xbox's stream will be about an hour long. Other presenters at TGS include Square Enix, Sega, Capcom, Konami, and Bandai Namco. Some companies have already shared at least part of their plans for TGS. Capcom announced it will show more of Resident Evil 8 at the Tokyo event. There's a new Cyberpunk 2077 Nightwire set to premiere as well. Sorry, I got a little excited there. Tokyo Game Show 2020 kicks off on September 24th and is planned as a digital-only event due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. And then not too much later, there was an update. So Xbox has confirmed some of what will be shown at its Tokyo Game Show showcase and made it clear that it will contain, quote, no new next-gen news. In a tweet and a blog post, Xbox released a list of what would be part of the show. Quote, celebrating Japanese game creators and games, quote, updates coming to Microsoft Flight Simulator for PC, Japanese Minecraft community creativity, and a review of first and third-party announcements from recent months. The show will be broadcast in Japanese only.
Oh, that's good to know. So that means they're clearly not making any new announcements that are related to the North American territories.
No.
Yeah, right.
They're keeping this pretty targeted.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a question from our patrons. Gabe Hewitt, Groovy Moose. I almost called you Moose. I did call you Moose. Sorry, you are not a moose.
You did call them.
Yeah,
them
I would
moose.
do a moose call, but I don't. Anyway, moving on. In regards to TGS, do you ever see Microsoft having a place in the Japanese gaming space like Sony and Nintendo? What would they have to do to get there?
They would have to release more games targeted towards Japanese markets. I feel like that's a a pretty obvious answer. But listen, Xbox has always been in the Japanese market. They just have been very far behind the Japanese creators in the Japanese market, right? So both Sony and Nintendo have been very much entrenched in Japan, and Xbox is trailing behind because if you look at the release history of Nintendo and Sony, they have long had exclusives that release either only in Japan or they release in Japan far earlier than they come to other territories. And I think that what endears consumers to continue to spend their dollars with those companies versus with Xbox.
Xbox also, they did make a run of it or go of it during the 360 era. They made a lot more exclusives for their platform that were focused towards a Japanese audience, and it still didn't really work. So I feel like at this point they're kind of like, it's really probably not a market we're ever going to win in, but it's not to say that they're not there. They're just kind of taking it as a loss because they know in order to actually make any footing there, it would just take a really long time. And it's probably, I mean, people are still inherently going to prefer PlayStation or Nintendo there because those are Japanese companies.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they can at least increase their presence there. And I think releasing the Xbox Series X very close to when you release it here in the States, because that's something they borked with the Xbox One release as well. As if you remember, it released in Japan way later, and that's no bueno. So I went through some of these, because I don't know if you ladies have seen the schedule, but there's just a lot going on over the course of TGS. But I pulled some of my highlights. Obviously, first and foremost, on Sunday, September 27th, we're getting a Resident Evil stream. Now, I'm not trying to figure out when this is taking place, because, of course, I'm going to be fucking out of town on that day. But it looks like it's going to take place between 5 and 8 a.m. around that time here.
That sounds right because of the time change between Japan and here.
Yeah, they're like 19 hours ahead or something.
Yeah, so that hopefully we'll get that narrowed down.
That'd be 1 p.m. 5 a.m. in Tokyo is 1 p.m. the previous day.
So on Capcom's
wait, no, I did
website,
that. I did that backwards.
You said it's going to be 5 a.m. our time.
Yes, 5 to 8 a.m. our time. PT.
Okay.
PT.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll get up at 5 a.m. and I'll stay glued because I don't want to miss this. That said, I can't help but wonder, what are we going to get? Probably some sort of story leading up to what happened between Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 8. Like, why is Ethan and Waifu in this, like, creepy-ass village? Why are they there? And what role is Chris playing? We'll probably see confirmation of first-person gameplay, which I think we kind of already got anyway because the trailer's through Ethan's eyes. But I digress. Very exciting stuff. I'm going to grunt all over the place. Sega Atlas is celebrating their 60th anniversary. They have an unannounced lineup, but if I had to take a guess, we're probably going to get that Persona 5 Scramble release date. And if I'm really lucky, and the point of me wearing this shirt today is maybe we'll get some Yakuza spin-offs because there's a lot of games out. Well, not a lot. I think there's just, I know of one in Japan that hasn't made its way over here yet. And Like a Dragon has been done for quite some time over there, so you know they're working on another one. Fingers crossed. Let's go.
What's the next thing you want? Like a what? Insert mystical creature here.
Like a caterpillar. No, I don't know. That just came to my head. But what I would,
very interesting game.
That would not be a very exciting game. That'd be very slow.
They should just make a game called Yakuza Madams Only, and it's just like all of the female characters from all the Yakuza games coming together to be like, we're the badass girl gang now.
Hell yeah. That are just the...
I thought you were going to say it's a maid's like cafe simulator.
Well, I mean
that would be cool too.
That could be part of it.
Yeah, because there's a Hostess Club minigame, so maybe it would just be a whole Hostess Club minigame. That'd be awesome. What else do we got? Okay, so Square probably will show more Project Athia. I don't really know how you're supposed to pronounce that. Which is the Athia.
I don't know if that's right. I'm just saying shit.
It sounds good. The Luminous
What is
Productions
that game? Do we know?
No, we don't know much about it. It's a thrilling, story-led, action-packed adventure from our new studio, Luminous Productions. So obviously that's part of the Final Fantasy 15 team. They're now Luminous Productions. So we'll see what they're working on. I think Gary Wood is working on that too. If I remember correctly.
I think he tweeted that.
Yeah, exciting. Babylon's Fall, which is that platinum action game that we haven't seen much of since it was announced in 2018, which is that, gods versus humans, oh no, storyline. Dragon Quest spinoffs probably, and then we are getting, like I said, that cyberpunk stuff, but I think it's going to be more of a rehash of what we already know, and it's going to be gameplay in Japanese, so that'll be kind of fun.
Yeah,
there you go. TGS, ladies and gentlemen, in a world of COVID.
And maybe next year we'll actually get to go, because we talked about going this year, and obviously
that did not happen.
We didn't work out the way we wanted it to.
But that's okay.
All right. Well, thanks for that recap, Britt. We will, of course, keep you guys updated once all of those announcements are on the interwebs. Hey, everybody. We're cutting in on your regularly scheduled What's Good Games podcast because Brittany and I felt compelled to do a special update report on the Nintendo Direct for Super Mario Bros. 35th anniversary that happened Thursday morning. Britt, OMG, so much happened in this Direct.
So much happened. And, yesterday, last night when we shot the show, it was a relatively short show. We wrapped up early. We're like, oh my gosh, look how good this week went. Wow. And then we wake up and it's like in your face.
Yeah,
Mario news.
It is. So this Direct is kind of surprise dropped and had a ton of information in it. In addition to celebrating the 35th anniversary of one of the most iconic video game franchises of all time, they announced a new collection, they announced some new hardware, and even a cool Toys to Life. So what's really cool is that there's a little bit of something for everybody inside this Direct. So where do you want to start, Britt?
Well, I grabbed Nintendo Life's article where they pulled all of the press releases and put it in one little simple, easy to access list for us, Andrea.
Perfect.
So this comes from Nintendo Life. Nintendo announces Super Mario remasters and much more in Super Mario Bros. 35th Anniversary Direct. After months of rumor and speculation, Nintendo has finally lifted the lid on what must be the gaming industry's worst-kept secret of 2020. Super Mario 3D Adventures from the Nintendo 64, GameCube, and Wii are coming to Switch in the form of Super Mario 3D All-Stars. So the first thing it starts with is Super Mario 3D All-Stars, and here is the press release for that. Optimized versions of 3D Mario games Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy are coming to Nintendo Switch in one package. In addition to having higher resolutions than their original versions, the games have been optimized for a smooth gameplay experience on Nintendo Switch. Super Mario 3D All-Stars also includes an in-game music player mode to play the music and songs from all three games. Players can also listen to music on the Nintendo Switch systems when the screen is off. A limited production of Super Mario 3D All-Stars launches exclusively for the Nintendo Switch family of systems on September 18th and will be available until approximately March 31st, 2021.
Cool. We expected this, I think.
I think we totally did.
Yeah, this is probably the least surprising of the announcements to me. I was like, we knew that like a Switch version was going to happen and that we're all going to buy it again. Boom, here it is.
Yeah, here it is. I think this is awesome. I love me some Super Mario 64. It still blows my mind that game came out in 1996. I saw that release date and I was like, holy shit, that was so long ago. But that's definitely one of my favorite games. Sunshine, I dabbled in. Never finished it. And then Galaxy, I just wasn't a fan because of the Wii controls. But
wait, no, Brittany.
I know, girl.
Galaxy was my favorite, though.
Oh, I'm so sorry that we don't share the same favorite. But
that's okay. I know some
be
people are Sunshine fans, too.
Yeah, this would be a good time to hop in, actually, now that the motion controls are kind of gone ski. It's funny, I remember on a prior episode, I was talking about how I was never the biggest fan, how I'm not the biggest fan of the newest Mario games because I feel like they're kind of like tried and true and like done over and over again. But these older ones, man, I feel like I could play these all the time, especially now that the motion controls have been wiped out. But the interesting thing about this is the timed exclusivity, which is kind of bizarre. So it's available on September 18th and will be available until March 31st, 2021. And to confirm, that's for physical and digital editions. Now, I think we all know where this is going. It's going to be pulled off and then they're all going to be sold separately.
Do you really think that that's what they're planning to do?
Why else would they make it a timed thing?
It kind of feels like they're trying to emulate a little bit like what Disney did with the vault, right? Oh, get Snow White now for a limited time before it goes back in the vault, right? I think that a lot of these classic Nintendo games feel a little bit like classic Disney animation in the sense that they're timeless, they are beloved, a lot of them are highly critically acclaimed, and so maybe Nintendo's just trying to drive a consumer push around buying it when it's available. But, I mean, I wouldn't put it past them to put these all available for purchase separately.
Yeah, I think that's the route it's going to go. Because why else would you take these games off of the shop? Why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense to me. But Nintendo's going to Nintendo, and I'm willing to bet that's what's going to happen, unfortunately. And like to bring up your double spoon analogy from Death Stranding, we're going to all want those double spoons. Feed us all of it, and we'll buy them all over again because that's what we do.
Yeah, if it wasn't obvious from our toys, if you're watching at youtube.com/whatsgoodgames, we're big Nintendo and Super Mario fans here at What's Good Games.
Got my Mario freaking creeping on me in the background. It's
I
actually
mean,
good.
there's something about the way his head's tilted and his eyes are that definitely looks like he's like, hey, girl, hey. just put a tissue over his eyes.
Just put a little tissue over him. Okay, we're good.
I mean, at that point... Amazing.
Kind of creeping me out.
Okay, next up in this story is actually something that I didn't see coming and something that I think looks really, really cool. So this is kind of the next phase for what Nintendo was doing in the kind of the Toys to Life category, and it's called Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. Now, I did not know that this is something that I wanted. I've never really been big into like home racing cars or models or anything, but boy, oh boy, you tell me Mario Kart and I can get an IRL Mario in his little cart and I can race it around with AR, augmented reality, with my Switch. Dude, this sounds so cool. So this was created in partnership with Velen Studios. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit brings the fun of Mario Kart into the real world by using a Nintendo Switch or Switch Lite to race against opponents using a physical cart. The physical cart responds to boosts in-game and in the real world. It stops when it hits an item, and it can be affected in different ways depending on the race. Players place gates to create custom course layout in their home, where the only limitation is their imagination. Race against Koopalings in the Grand Prix, unlock a variety of course customizations and costumes for Mario or Luigi, and play with up to 4 players and local multiplayer mode. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit is available in a Mario or Luigi set and launches October 16th with a suggested retail price of $9.99. Excuse me, $99.99, so $100.
Yeah, I think this is really cool. I wasn't quite sure how this was going to work at first, but yeah, I guess you just place the little gates around your house and then it creates a little track for you, which is really interesting. I just need a Yoshi cart though, if we're going to be real.
We need a Peach and a Yoshi cart. Like that's like the classic, 4-player combo. Somebody was always Peach or Yoshi because they're the fastest.
Yeah, I was always the Yoshi kid on Mario Kart Super Nintendo. Let's go.
I was always Peach. She was my diehard. So I think that this has a lot of potential if it's successful, that Nintendo will release additional carts over time. But I get that from a manufacturing standpoint, they probably didn't want to take the risk of, opening up with an abundance of carts because it's easier to roll them out. I mean, look at what they did with Amiibo, right? Like created this kind of zeitgeist around specific Amiibo launches and, people getting very excited about pre-orders and, how do I find them, trading, all of that. I don't think that that's going to be exactly what happens here because these are much more expensive and they're much bigger and their uses are more limited, but I think it's a cool opportunity to do some customization with their lineup.
I hope these things are durable as fuck, Andrea. Because I'm good at driving in real life, and I guess at the end of the day, that's all that matters. But in video games and stuff like this, oh man, I'm probably going to run over Reb several times. I'm going to probably dent our walls. It's going to be fine, but it's also not going to be fine, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, I want to set up a course outside around the pool. My entire pool deck is
risky.
Concrete. I know, but my entire pool deck is concrete, and I'm like, yo, I've got a TV on wheels. I could just roll it outside. We could do a whole race. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't want these carts to go in the water.
Yeah, it's like a water hazard. And maybe what you can do is, here's what you do, Andrea. If one of the cars falls in the pool, you just dress John as, what's his name, that always pulls the cars out of the hazards.
Oh my gosh, what is that guy's name?
It's not is it Latiku? I feel like it's La something. I'm
literally looking it up. I literally Googled Mario Kart guy in cloud. It's Lakitu.
Lakitu. Oh, no, you're right. Lakitu. I was close. I had the T and the K mixed up. So that's what you do. Or maybe you have Mav. You just dress him up in the little outfit, and then you give him a little fishing pole, and they go in and they pull him out. It'd be great.
Yeah, great content. Hashtag content just for you guys.
Next, we have Game & Watch Super Mario Brothers. So this new collectible device is inspired by the original Game & Watch systems first released in 1980. The original handheld device included a game and could also be used as a watch to tell time. Before cell phones, friends, it was a weird world. The original Game & Watch series sold more than 43 million worldwide. Game & Watch Super Mario Bros. Features a modern control pad. In addition to playing classic games Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, released in Japan as Super Mario Bros. 2, and a special version of Ball with a Mario makeover, Game & Watch Super Mario Bros. Also functions as a clock with 35 little touches to discover, including some guest appearances from Mario's friend and foes. Game & Watch Super Mario Bros. Launches on November 13th at a suggested retail price of $49.99. I feel like I kind of need this.
So I am in the same boat. I tweeted earlier today that I 100% do not need this, but I 1,000% am putting it on my Christmas list for Santa. It's happening. This thing is super cute. It's very nostalgic. Nintendo is just really great at pushing those buttons for us older gamers who grew up with Nintendo and these Nintendo devices, much like the classic editions of the last couple of years. It feels like this might be one of the hot commodities for retro gamers to get their hands on, because I know a lot of us were holding out hope for a Nintendo 64 Classic Edition, and I'm not saying that that's off the table, but clearly Nintendo is really wanting to lean into the 35th anniversary of Mario.
Yeah, this looks really sleek too. And I think it's funny looking at that release date of November 13th. I'm like, okay, so that's definitely right around the time when the new consoles are going to be releasing. So we're going to have the new Xbox, the new PlayStation, and then we're going to have Game & Watch Super Mario Bros. At least Nintendo can say they put out some hardware during that time.
True. I mean, now that those Switch rumors are kind of flying fast and furious, I think 2021 is probably going to be a time where if we get anything directly Switch related, it'll be. But I mean, the kart system, Mario Kart Live Circuit, and this Game & Watch, sign me up. I'm ready.
Let's go.
Okay. Up next. Yes, you guys, there is so much more in this direct. We have, let's see, Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury. So this was something that I think we also were expecting as far as kind of like HD up-res, right? So multiplayer mayhem pounces onto the Nintendo Switch. This enhanced Super Mario 3D World, which originally launched on the Wii U system, features a co-op gameplay. Sorry, I was just moving my windows around.
No
co-op gameplay both online and through local multiplayer in a variety of creative levels. Additional details about what new things this game has to offer will be revealed later. It will launch on Nintendo Switch on February 12th, 2021. And oh my gosh, those new amiibos for Cat Mario and Cat Peach will also be released at the same time as the game. Let me see if I can find those amiibos.
They're super cute. I'm really happy about this. I mean, like you said, I think it's something we totally expected, but I really like Super Mario 3D World, and I liked how it was multiplayer, like true multiplayer. You weren't playing as like a little star or like a little hat named Cappy, you know, fucking creepy ass hat. But I digress. Yeah, I think this is going to be really great, and I'm happy that we're getting new content with Bowser's Fury. I mean, here's the thing, is like we played all these games before, but I will always throw money at Nintendo because I'm part of the problem to replay them on my current console, which is the Switch. You don't care.
You know, you're not part of the problem when we're in this together, Britt. So here's the Mario amiibo, the Cat Mario amiibo.
Oh, so cute.
Here is the Cat Peach.
Peach is giving those bedroom eyes. I'm sorry. That's
Also, I love how Polygon's caption says, seriously, if your cat's fur looks like this, take them to the vet. That's a good point. But I got Cat Peach here. So this is a plushie that came from the Nintendo store in Tokyo, in Japan, that my darling husband brought back for me. But I think that these are going to be really popular. Obviously, they're in fuzzy. They're more like terry cloth, like onesies, than they are like cat fur.
That's true. Still, kind of, well, you know, whatever. Different strokes for different folks. Maybe that's how Peach and Mario gets down in the bedroom.
Don't want to think about that.
No, me neither. That's fucking weird. Super Mario Bros. 35, which is was not expecting this. A little bit of a head scratcher, but still pretty cool. So welcome to Super Mario Bros. With 35 players. In this competitive online battle game, 35 players will compete to be the last Mario standing or running. Enemies defeated will be sent to other players' courses, but that also works the other way around. Players can activate special items to try and outpace their opponents. Super Mario Bros. 35 launches on October 1st as a digital-only game exclusive to Nintendo Switch Online members. The game will be playable until March 31st, 2021.
So this is weird.
Yeah.
I'm like, obviously this is building off of what they started with Tetris 99, but I just don't I don't know, man. This just doesn't feel like it's a good fit.
It's definitely a choice. You know, on one hand, like, I look at this, I'm like, okay, my dad, who loves video games but can't handle anything more than like a left or right, up or down thing, he would probably love this. He'll probably have a lot of fun with it. And cool. I'm sure it's going to do very well. But the thing for me, again, is what's up with the timed? Why is it timed? I don't get it.
Don't know.
I get, like, they might do what they did with Tetris 99 too, which is take it. Well, I guess you don't really want to play this offline because Nintendo did make an offline mode where you could pay $10 for it. So maybe the same thing will happen. They'll put it on there, they'll take it down, and they'll slap a price tag on it, and then you'll be able to buy it again. I'm not putting it past them. It's fine. Nintendo. It's not actually fine. It's a really weird business practice, but Nintendo's gonna Nintendo, and we're gonna double spoon the shit out of it.
I'm interested to see how it's going to work out. Obviously, you know, their online infrastructure we rag on all the time. So if they can actually successfully do this and it works, maybe it can open the door for more online multiplayer Nintendo subscription-driven experiences or games. Because right now there's not been a lot of those. There's been just a couple so far. But we keep saying that we want them to get more into the online space. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Oh, this one's really exciting.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, Super Mario All-Stars. Again, part of the problem. The classic Super NES game that included upgraded versions of Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, and Super Mario Bros. 2 and Super Mario Bros. 3 with enhanced 16-bit graphics. Enhanced 16-bit graphics is joining the catalog of games available with Nintendo Switch Online later today. Just feed me with those double spoons all day, every day. Let's go.
How many times have you bought these games, Britt?
Oh, gosh. I don't even... I know I have the collection that came on Wii, and then I have some of the Super Nintendo carts anyway. Separately, a lot. I couldn't even tell you. But, like, that's the thing. I think we were just talking about this in the show that we recorded last night. That's a part of this show. Or no, maybe it was Monday's show. Anyway, that these games just never get old. They are consistently fun. They never age poorly. I think that's the charm of them, and that's why I don't mind spending money on them over and over again. But did you have Super Mario All-Stars back in the day?
Oh, yeah. I think if you owned a Nintendo system, you definitely had that game. So I think what's been really cool about the way that they've uprised it is that they're not just, you know, releasing the old code. They do polish it up and make it look nice every time they do, which I appreciate. So the thing I tweeted this morning is, like, you know, I've had my fair share of eyebrow-raising moments at some of the wacky choices that Nintendo has made, as everybody who listens to the show knows. But what I think gets lost sometimes when people get buried in the weeds of what we don't like is all of the things that we love. And these classic games are something that I think every gamer should experience. And the best way for them to do that is for Nintendo to keep releasing them, to make them really accessible, so you don't have to pull out your old hardware or try to find, you know, the right component cables to hook your, you know, NES into your TV, because a lot of new HD TVs don't even have component jacks in the back of them anymore, right? And so I think what's great about this is it allows young gamers who maybe are just starting to play, maybe they're 7 or 8 when I played my first Nintendo game, to play these classic games and kind of introduce them to the Nintendo portfolio.
Yep. Raise your kids right, friends.
Make them play Mario Brothers.
Yes. Oh, this is really cool. And I keep talking about my dad, but I'm excited to call him and be like, hey, did you know you can get this game? Because he and I played this all the time when I think it was like 5 or 6. This is when we first started playing these. And so I know he'll get a kick out of it. And I think also, you know, a lot of people who maybe haven't played games in a long time see these games, and maybe like their kid has a Switch or something. It's like, oh, I can play that again. I don't know. It's just good all around. Let's go.
I'm with you. I am with you.
Okay, so next, here we have some Super Mario events. So from now until March 2021, there are many events to mark the 35th anniversary of Mario. So by completing Super Mario-related missions on My Nintendo, fans will have an opportunity to earn rewards, including a special pin set. Pins are available while supplies last. This promotion lasts until March 31st, 2021. And from September 8th until September 22nd, Mario Kart Tour will have a Super Mario Kart Tour event with special appearances by Mario and Donkey Kong Jr. Historical Super Mario items and 35th anniversary-themed merchandise will be available for purchase at the Nintendo New York store and store.nintendo.com during the month of November, which is where all of us will probably be doing our shopping from. A 35th anniversary-themed Ninja Speedruns course is coming to Super Mario Maker 2 in November. Later this year, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate will have an in-game online tournament using Super Mario Series fighters, stages, and items. A Super Mario themed Splatfest, that just sounds so silly, is coming to Splatoon 2 in January 2021. Keychains will also be available as a My Nintendo reward closer to the Splatfest. In addition, physical Splatfest t-shirts will be available for purchase online later today. And the question for the upcoming Splatfest, which Super Mario power-up do you prefer? Supersize with a super mushroom or become invincible with a superstar? Andrea?
Invincible.
Absolutely.
Invincible, for sure. The star is GOAT.
Yeah. The star is like having 15 mushrooms that never go away. You know? You just keep getting it. Yeah. And then you're going to be really excited about this one.
I know.
In March of next year, Super Mario-themed furniture will be available in the Animal Crossing New Horizons game.
Yay! It's overdue.
It is overdue. So what would be some of your ideal Mario furniture?
Well, a star everything. Like star pillows would be fun that you can place around the world. I think star rugs, star wallpaper. I would also like mushroom stools, other things, because they have a whole mushroom line that goes with all of the fall updates that are coming in November. But I think Mario specific mushrooms or toad related things. I think costumes, of course, that you can buy. You want to buy the overalls, the Luigi and Mario uniform. I want to buy an official Peach dress, and in the Able Sisters, because there's a lot of custom things that creators have made. So you can obviously, go to the subreddit, the Animal Crossing communities on Pinterest or Instagram or whatever, and see a lot of creators have recreated these Nintendo outfits. But getting official ones through Able Sisters would be great too, because then I don't have to use a slot in my custom slots. But I think that stuff would be really fun. And then, there's just so many potentials. Like, what if you got like cool wallpapers for like Bowser's Castle, or like some of the underwater worlds that you could get cool wallpapers and floors for.
Oh my god, you could create an underwater level room.
Yes, you could. They've got to have like a warp pipe,
lava rooms.
Like warp pipes that you can put in the world.
Oh my god.
The possibilities are endless.
I know. I'm not going to be dramatic and say maybe that'll get me back into the game, because it sounds good, and let's be real, probably won't happen. But that would be exciting.
Well, I'll be sure to be like, Britt, hey, maybe you should, dust off your bed head and pick some weeds on your island and come back. Come back, Britt.
No shit. I'm kind of terrified. It's probably like a certified jungle by now. Whoops.
Listen, I would be happy to come over and pick weeds for you. I find it very therapeutic. Okay? Not real weeds, just fake video game weeds.
Oh my god, you're the best. You crack me up. In addition, we have Super Mario products. So we have the Puma RS Dreamer Super Mario 64 basketball shoes from a collaborative collection which launches tomorrow, September 4th. These shoes will be available exclusively at Foot Locker, Champ Sports, Puma stores, and Puma.com. Is John Drake getting these?
Probably. I'm probably going to get these. Let's be real.
Can you pull them back up?
Yes. Here, let me pause it here.
Oh, yeah. Those are fun.
I don't normally like wacky colored sneakers. I prefer like classics, like black, white, and like neutrals. But I think that these are really cool. I like the shape of them. Sometimes these custom video game sneakers are very styled in a way that I'm just not fashionable enough to pull off. But I think I could handle these. Those
are cute.
For people listening on the podcast, they are, they look like a classic running shoe silhouette. It's got red mesh, not mesh, but like kind of like a breathable fabric on the top of the sneaker, on the kind of where the arch instep is, that's got a blue detail. The heel is white with like a really light blue, like not a swoosh, all right? It's not the Nike swoosh, because these are Pumas, but it's kind of got like a little highlight, light blue detail in the middle of the white chunk around the heel. So it looks really cool. I like it.
I do too. Next, we have the Monopoly Super Mario Celebration from Hasbro, which is now available at retailers worldwide. You need another Monopoly game? There you go. You're set.
Who doesn't need another Monopoly game? True story, I had a Mario Monopoly, but when I was over at my friend John Vignaci's house several years ago, who actually works for Nintendo, if you guys follow him, he works for Nintendo, and I brought this over to play, and we were drinking wine, and he has cats, and the cats jumped up on the table, knocked my wine glass over, and it spilled over the entire board. Just done. The board was just cooked. It was over. It had to go in the trash. There was no saving it.
No.
It was like once all the money got wet, you know, when it dried out, it was all like crinkly and warped. And I was just like, I was devastated.
Oh, no. You could have saved the little figures, but you're like, nah.
No, I think I got rid of the whole thing. The intention was to buy another one, and then we just never did. So now, thankfully, I can just get this one.
And you can also get Jenga Super Mario.
I know. That's so cool.
I love it. Remember bars, Andrea, and they have the big Jenga?
Yeah,
Remember
I've had
those
one at my
days?
house.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well,
Giant Jenga for the win.
mm-hmm. And then the It's-a-Me Mario action figures from Jakks Pacific is now available at retailers worldwide. Oh, my God. He looks like the fucking Creeper Mario I have right behind me.
He definitely looks very much like, here, let me roll back for a second. Take his shame tissue off.
Shame tissue.
Here, there he is. That's that one. Yeah, I mean, they look the same, except yours is all plastic. Yeah. And this one clearly has like fabric overalls.
Wow. Well, I got the cheap ass Mario. Oh, God, you know, I really don't like the way his head is tilted at me. You're right. Like the way it's honestly very scary.
Yeah.
He's like, hello, Andrea. Would you like me to plumb your pipes? Okay, that got weird. I don't know. Okay, I'm just going to, yep. Okay. Next up, we have the Black Milk clothing inspired by Super Mario will be available at blackmilkclothing.com starting at 5 p.m. Eastern on October 5th. A lookbook sneak peek will be available on September 29th.
I feel like I need to probably put something in the calendar for this because I'm not really into overalls as a look, but like this is very cute and I really want this outfit just for that mushroom, that toad, like sleeveless shirt.
It's really fucking cute.
Like that has to be part of my wardrobe.
Agreed. Yeah, Black Milk has really nice stuff. I'm a fan. I like their Mass Effect collection too. That's been a while though since they launched that. All right, then we have the Lego Nintendo Entertainment System set. Oh, we already know this. It's already available at Lego stores and Lego.com with multiple Lego Super Mario sets now available at retailers worldwide. Whoa.
And I'm still committing everybody to doing a live stream build of this. It's still in the box. I haven't done it. I just haven't had time. When I get back from my vacation, I'm going to commit a date and we're going to live build it.
There you go. I'm working on the Lego Mario set with my dad right now, actually.
Oh,
and
nice.
It's really fun. I thank God for the online app now that you can just download. And I don't know if it's necessarily online, but it shows you step by step what to do with the Legos. Maybe this has been around a very long time and I'm so new to the Lego world, but it's so helpful. Otherwise, I don't know what I'd be doing.
I didn't know that was a thing. Thank you for the pro tip.
Oh, dude, absolutely. And you can zoom in and you can rotate it and it shows you exactly what to do in what bag, where to find the pieces, and it's lovely. Lovely. Well, that was a lot of Nintendo stuff.
It sure was. I am very glad that we decided to do this pickup because this is way too much news to contain and wait for WGG Live on Monday because there is no episode on Monday. It would have to wait until next week. So I'm glad that we took the time to talk about this. This is very exciting. I am probably going to buy like 90% of this stuff.
Oh, yeah. Again, we call that the double spoon effect, Andrea. That's what we're doing. I'm absolutely getting all this stuff. And after we get off this call, I'm going to call my dad and be like, hey, you should download these things. Because I think Super Mario All-Stars is available now, right? Yeah.
It is. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So cool.
Well, everybody, we hope that you enjoyed this little recap. And now you have something to play on your Switch this weekend. If you're like, what am I going to do? You can play Classic Mario. Back to the show. Up next, AT&T is no longer looking to sell Warner Brothers. IGN writes, after reports stating that AT&T was looking to sell off Warner Brothers Interactive, which includes studios like Rocksteady, NetherRealm, and WB Montreal, it has now removed its gaming division from the list of non-core assets up for sale. As reported by Bloomberg, AT&T has decided it was too valuable to unload during its effort to pay down debt and streamline, according to people familiar with the situation. In June, CNBC reported that Warner Brothers Interactive had attracted interest from many companies, a list that includes Microsoft, EA, Activision, and Take-Two, and that this potential sale could have reaped $4 billion for AT&T. However, it now sees the business growth potential. It's like,
Wait, people like this thing? Shit, wait.
What?
Maybe we should look into this.
Batman,
Maybe
you
we
guys,
should-
it sells everything.
Yeah, like, oh no. Wait, people want the thing we have. Maybe it is valuable? Question mark.
Business daddy, as John Oliver calls him, has decided, yo, you know
Yes.
what? Those video games make money. Isn't that what all the kids are playing these days?
Kids and old people like me.
Literally all of us. Also, Steimer, stop. You're not old.
It's a joke.
It
It's
is
okay.
a joke. Continuing on, Bloomberg notes that a few factors have influenced this retreat, including the upcoming release of the yet unannounced Harry Potter game and the fact that COVID-19 pandemic has kept people at home with more opportunities to play games. Additionally, Warner Brothers Interactive works with a ton of licensed properties, which would make a sale complicated, as it would, quote, come with a set of long-term strings attached, end quote. No shit. While there's no mention of Rocksteady's Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League and WB Montreal's Gotham Knights, these recently revealed games will also most likely be two big titles for the gaming division and AT&T as a whole. And we have a question.
From patron Devin Nitz, do you think seeing the reactions to WB Interactive's games from the DC event helped convince AT&T to no longer sell?
Yes.
I think it's probably more the business deals versus that, personally. I think when people are like, hey, we'll give you a bunch of money for this thing you have, then that's when you see the value of it, as opposed to, oh, wow, you've got a big gulp there. I mean, obviously it didn't hurt, but I also don't know how much
At least it's not
AT&T was
whiskey.
paying attention.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think that it didn't hurt that the public reception to DC Fandom's reveal of the games was overwhelmingly positive. Obviously, there's always going to be some fanboys out there that are mad and crying on the internet. But I think, Devin, that what Steimer said is absolutely accurate. I think the note from Bloomberg about the licensing and how that gets really complicated probably also influenced the deal as well. Going into a new console generation with a new slate of games, now is the time for AT&T to make money, and they can potentially look at a sale 5 years plus down the line.
Yeah.
Money, man. Everyone's always ready to throw you to the dogs until they're like, oh, you mean to tell me you can make me money? Well, okay. Maybe then I'll consider keeping you around. You only have Batman and all the other shit. Oh, yes, maybe you're worth some money after all. Well, that's what rich people sound like.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
I like it.
Proven fact.
Next story. Nintendo Switch eShop finally lets you cancel pre-orders. Woo!
Huzzah! It complies with legal guidelines. Pretty sure it's illegal to not let you cancel something you pre-order.
Yeah, but you know, Japan. You know.
They're like, we just forgot to build that into the system because it's made of bubblegum and
Our bad,
sawdust.
guys.
Yeah.
I don't need to
So,
read
yeah.
this entire story, but Britt, if you want to give highlights, you know.
So yeah, it does kind of talk on that and how illegal it could be. So basically, yeah, you can finally cancel a pre-ordered game up to a week before its release. This change does not affect pre-orders made within a week of launch, which will be charged immediately. And so the inability to cancel pre-orders made via the eShop has been branded illegal by some European consumer rights groups, and the matter has been taken to court, leading to some awkward headlines. For over 2 years, German and Norwegian consumer authorities have been working to get Nintendo's eShop order practices declared illegal under European law. Ordinarily, European consumers have the right to cancel a pre-order at any time before a game's release, but Nintendo insisted eShop users waived that right prior to any purchase by ticking a box stating, I consent that Nintendo begins with the performance of its obligations before the cancellation period ends. I acknowledge that I thereby lose my right to cancel. Apparently, those are boxes y'all been ticking.
It's just part of the giant blurb that they make. Like, there's
really
no way to
is.
not select the box.
So Germany's courts ruled in Nintendo's favor, and then they're still trying to appeal it, blah, blah, blah. But yes, finally, this is a thing. This is finally a thing you can do. Good job, Nintendo. You get with the times.
Well, theoretically, at least, I don't know, obviously, international practices, but you're not supposed to get the full, like, if I'm paying for something, they're technically not supposed to charge me the full amount until that thing ships or until that thing is available.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the thing. And then you've given them their
There's
money.
no exchange of goods
You've given
until
them
I
an
get the thing.
interest-free loan.
Yes.
Yeah. So right now, for you're curious, Kat, the PlayStation's policy is as long as the request is made before the release date or within 14 days of purchase and the content has not started to download or be streamed, you can get a refund. And on Xbox, if you want to cancel your pre-order, you can do this up to 10 days before the game launches, but you have to go to account.microsoft.com/billing/orders.
Oh my
and then
God.
you have to do a whole thing. It's a
You
whole
got to
thing.
jump through a few hoops,
But
to
you
get
can
rid
do
of it.
it.
but you can do it.
Yeah.
Put your back
you can
into
do
it.
Oh.
Or just wait I guess, and not pre-order from the eShop.
That's I'm like, if it's on eShop, there's literally no reason for you to pre-order because it's not like they're going to run out of inventory.
I was thinking about that too, actually, but it turns out that sometimes they do pre-order.
They do
discounts.
Offers or that. Yeah,
or you'll get like a theme, or because I had the same thought. I was like, why would you even? Because it's not like it's going to run out. But yeah, if they offer some sort
digital
of digital
goods,
then,
exclusives, that kind of
sure.
stuff. Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's move on to our next story. But before we do that, I want to let you know that this episode of What's Good Games is brought to you by Full Sail University. We know you love video games, but have you ever considered making them? If so, then we want to tell you about Full Sail University, which offers a variety of gaming degree programs on campus and online that can teach you the tools, technology, and workflow used by today's gaming studios. Graduates from Full Sail University have worked on awesome games like Grand Theft Auto 5, the Call of Duty series, Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, and many more. Full Sail has degrees available in game development, design, and game art, as well as many other degrees in entertainment and media. Go to fullsail.edu/whatsgoodgames for more info. That's fullsail.edu/whatsgoodgames for more info. Remember, don't just go to fullsail.edu. You gotta support the show. Go to fullsail.edu/whatsgoodgames. Our next story is all about The Witcher and their brand new game from CD Projekt Red. We got a little brief gameplay peek at the upcoming Witcher mobile game. So I know a lot of people hear The Witcher and they're like, ooh, I'm tingly all over. And it's not just because of Henry Cavill, I promise. But this is a brand new game that I did not see coming. I think when I think mobile, I instantly think of Gwent, a game that's been running quite successfully in the background. But now we've got something new. So, Brittany, would you like to read this while I get some B-roll going?
Absolutely. So this comes from Eurogamer. Last week, CD Projekt revealed it would be bringing the witchery world of Geralt and Friends to iOS and Android in the form of a free-to-play augmented reality, quote, location-based RPG, because that's what we're calling it these days. What it didn't do, however, was show much in the way of gameplay, but the studio has now remedied that with a brisk new trailer. The Witcher Monster Slayer, as the mobile game is officially known, is the work of developer Spocko and serves as a prequel to the existing Witcher games. Players in the role of a fledgling Witcher must scour the untamed continent in order to track, study, and battle creatures both new and familiar, with much of the action superimposed into a corrupted version of the real world through the technological wizardry of AR. Efficient monster hunters will need to craft potions, oils, and other helpful items instead of simply blundering into battle, and Spocko says it's important to take real-world time of day and weather into account, as these can impact how each first-person skirmish plays out. Elsewhere, The Witcher Monster Slayer promises, quote, rich, story-driven quests and full-fledged adventures that draw on previous Witcher titles, and CD Projekt Red says it'll share more details on the game's iOS and Android launch later this year. So it's like Pokemon Go, but you're a Witcher, with like some badass-looking Witcher enemies.
Yeah, it feels a lot like Harry Potter Wizards Unite in that sense, that it's going to be, you know, very much AR-based, but it's not as cartoony as Pokemon Go is. That there's probably going to be a little bit more involved in like the capturing or the defeating of the monsters, much like Wizards Unite. But I think that may have contributed to Wizards Unite being not as successful as Pokemon Go, because when I played when I was still living in San Francisco, Joey Noelle and I would walk around on lunch breaks and things when I was up at the Kind of Funny offices. And the thing that I noticed right away in the difference is that I can easily one-hand play Pokemon Go, right? Mm-hmm. Like you're out on a walk, maybe you have a drink, maybe you're chatting with people. It's very, Brittany, you're the Pokemon Go expert. It's very easy to just play casually. Wizards Unite, not the same case. You kind of had to, you know, draw the spells a specific way. There was a lot more stuff happening on screen. And I feel like when I'm looking for something AR, I want something much more approachable. But I'm interested to see what they're going to do with it.
No, like, I mean, I feel like nothing is ever going to, well, obviously nothing is ever going to like hit that same level of success, mostly because Pokemon itself inherently lends itself to what this is. Like, hello, yeah, of course I'd like to walk around and catch up the Pokemon. That's what Pokemon is all about. Whereas like this, I'm like, I don't really know that I feel like walking around in real life looking for horrific monsters. Like Pokemon's like dumb and cute. Of course. Yeah, oh look, let's see what dumb little creatures in my house. This is not creepy at all because it's a dumb little creature and it's got little googly eyes, and that's great. You're like, you don't want to be like, oh my god, there's a fucking
Kikimora, like in my shit. That's the only one that came to mind.
Right, exactly. I'm like, that's not a thing I just like want around the corner. Now that if it launches around Halloween, it could get like a spooky boost, but otherwise, I love The Witcher, but this is not blowing my skirt up.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I mean, to no surprise, I think it looks kind of obviously fun. I want to walk around and catch creepy monsters. It's like kind of my thing.
Oh, that's for sure you, and you live in the woods, so like you can really go for it.
You could full LARP this, Brittany.
You really could.
I'll just get a set of armor off of some like Spirit Halloween store.
Yes, do it.
And I'll go like LARP around. 100%.
You already have like Siri hair, pretty much. So there you go. You just like,
I'll have
hello,
Jason
I'm a
like
Witcher.
play some battle music behind me as I'm like romping around like our acres and
You
whatnot.
just need to get some like leather saddlebags to wear around your waist or something.
I was gonna say you could put them on Reb.
Oh my god, he'll be my roach.
He's Roach.
Oh, yes. I mean, you have to do this now.
Hashtag content. Go forth and make it, Brittany.
Oh my god, yeah. I didn't even remember what I was gonna say, but I'm fucking so into this. It doesn't even matter anymore. Let's go.
I love it. Well, we will of course keep you updated on The Witcher Monster Slayer once it's available to play. We'll test it out. Don't worry, everybody. Hopefully you will test it out too. Let us know what you think of it. Next up, Gods and Monsters officially has been renamed to Immortals Phoenix Rising.
But Phoenix spelled weird.
It's not Phoenix with a PH. It's Phoenix with an F because why not?
And it's
And a
F-E-N-Y-X.
It's not even like Marcus Phoenix. It's different. All right. So this write-up comes from IGN. Ubisoft's open-world Greek myth adventure Gods and Monsters has officially been renamed to Immortals Phoenix Rising. Gods and Monsters was first revealed back at E3 2019 with an original release date of February 25th, 2020, but was delayed late last year. So this game is something that we hadn't heard about in quite a while, and it was one of those games that we were hoping to hear more about at Ubisoft's Forward, but maybe we'll get one at the Forward happening on September 10th. It seems that we're finally going to learn more, though, about Immortals Phoenix Rising in their lineup reveal trailer is any indication, because if you guys saw it, you may have seen a little bit of this. Quote, Ubisoft Forward this September will feature new games and big news on Ubisoft's upcoming lineup of games and content. So
you know what this weird ass spelling is definitely getting them? SEO. Because I was like, oh, let me just look at like, well, if you search for Phoenix, that spelling, that's the only thing that comes up. Because I was like, what does this maybe like? Is this like a weird Greek way of saying? Is this like something I'm just not familiar with? Why are they spelling it like this? And it's just like, it's the game. I'm like, oh, so maybe they just made it weird so that when you spell it, you only get the game when it comes up.
Patron Mitch Craston writes in, why rename Gods and Monsters at this point? Aren't there plenty of people that have heard of the completely normal name in some place or another rather than some weird spelling of Fionyux?
Listen, I get your point, but I think Steimer made a really valid point. In a world that's super SEO driven and driven by search data, I think it's smart of them to go with something original, but the problem is that there's already
so much tied to Gods and Monsters.
You're right. Like, it would be really hard to market that to stand out, Gods and Monsters, because you even think of all the mythological stuff from, like, back in the day. I gotta be honest, I think this name is really stupid.
Yeah.
Immortals Phoenix Rising. Like, what does that even mean?
Well, the Phoenix is obvious. Phoenix Rising makes sense. Actually, it all makes sense, right? Because even if you're immortal, if you technically died as a Phoenix, you come back. You're immortal.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't really get it in the scheme of the game because I haven't actually paid that much attention to the game, if I'm being completely honest with you. But I don't think it's a weird name from like a context standpoint. I just think it's a weird move to just be like, we're doing this now, even though you already kind of know what this is, and like, I don't know.
You know what? I think it's totally fine.
I think it's fine, but I don't know if it was necessary.
Necessary, no, but clearly the creative team felt strongly enough about it that they're willing to say, hey, we know that there's all these trailers and gameplay demos from E3 and all this other marketing material that was created around Gods and Monsters, and including, the incredible amount of money I imagine Ubisoft paid to trademark and copyright everything and do graphics and all that business. But, obviously there was a reason. And I think it'll probably all be made clear hopefully it'll be made clear on Thursday, September 10th. Which is just next week.
Not that far away.
Uh-huh. next week, everybody. I'm not going to be there. Sad. Tear.
It's okay.
Cry.
R&R is important.
It's true. It is. I'm going to go see my mom's. It's going to be great. In case you missed it, everybody, Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics Marvel Avengers announced that they have accomplished a heroic achievement, according to their press release. The Marvel's Avengers beta has officially become the most downloaded beta in PlayStation history.
Spider-Man.
Did Spider-Man have a beta?
Spider-Man.
No,
but
but Spider-Man's the character tied. But they also have
Oh, I thought it was like why
early access was
I
exclusive on
understand. Got it.
PlayStation. It didn't go to all 3 platforms open until the 3rd weekend. So it was PlayStation only the 1st weekend, and then it was all 3 platforms for pre-orders only the 2nd weekend, and then the 3rd weekend was anybody can jump in the beta if they want. We're going to talk more about Marvel's Avengers and our hands-on time with it and how we've been pleasantly surprised after not being so happy with the beta. But we'll get to that in just a minute because we have... Do we have any more in case you missed us? I don't think so.
No.
Oh,
It's a
boy.
weird week.
That's it.
Weird week, man.
Look at that.
Nice.
It's kind of nice, though.
It is. I know.
Man. All right. Well, on that note, we're going to go into the first break. We'll be right back. And now it's time for an announcement. There's no What's Good Games Live on Monday.
I thought you were gonna cut away really hard after it. Just be like, That's it.
That's the only announcement, everybody. Goodbye. No, there are a couple more announcements. So Monday is Labor Day here in the United States, and since I will be out of town, we decided, you know what? Let's just take the day off. So hopefully you guys are going to either go watch somebody else's stream who's streaming, or you're going to play a game of your own, or maybe you're out there hustling, making money. And whatever you're doing, unfortunately, it won't include What's Good Games Live. But don't worry, we will be back with the Friday show as per usual. And then the following week, we have some really cool stuff happening. On Monday, September 14th, we are getting very special guest Jennifer Hale on What's Good Games Live. Brittany and I are very excited about this. We're going to be taking your questions, but we are going to be doing it earlier than normal. So normally, the show starts at 11 a.m. Pacific time, but because that's also the day of our PAX Online panel, which starts at 11:45, we're going to kick things off for What's Good Games Live at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. I know what you're thinking, but Andrea, that's in the middle of KFGD. What are you going to do? And I will say just abandon that show and come watch ours because Jennifer Hale is awesome. You should come hang out.
That's like a no-brainer.
Yeah, obviously. And then Brittany, Thursday, September 17th. We have another panel.
RTX at Home panel. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have friends from Easy Allies. We're going to have friends from Kinda Funny. It's going to be a lovely time. We're going to talk about the wonderful world of gaming journalism.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Her
eyes were like,
I am not participating on this particular panel. I will be working at my regular job.
Yep. No, it's okay.
But
There's so many of us on this panel, and I think the panel's only an hour long. It's going to be so much fun, though.
That should be for me. Like, the fact that I'm not there is all you need to know about gaming journalism right now, is that I have another job, and I do this job.
Wow, mic drop, right?
Yeah, pretty much. She was like, oh, you think gaming journalism is where it's at? Nope. Mic drop. Walk away.
If you want it, when I was the poorest in my life was when I was a gaming journalist.
Yep. That's probably why most of the people on the panel are no longer games journalists in the traditional sense.
Hey, that's what I'm saying.
But we're all going to talk about when we were. It's going to be great. It's going to be great, everybody.
Remember those good old days when you worked way too long for way too little, and you lived off Starbucks?
Oh, you mean like now?
Yeah, well, I don't live off Starbucks anymore. I actually don't really drink coffee anymore. But yes.
All right, everybody, that's it for our announcements. Welcome back, everybody. This is the second segment of the What's Good Games podcast. This is where we talk about what we've been playing, and we have some fun ones today. But before we get to that, I want to let you know that this segment is brought to you by Hawthorne. Hawthorne is a company that's all about body care, skin care, making you smell good, making you feel good. So when you go into a store, sometimes it can be really daunting to look at the skincare, body care aisle because there's just so many choices. Particularly if you're a dude and you go there and you're like, oh, it's just like 15,000 fragrance of Old Spice and this isn't really anything that I want. So what do? You need to go to a place like Hawthorne.co. So I did the online quiz with my husband, John Drake, who many of you know. He's got his own emote on our Twitch channel. We sat down and we did the quiz together, but don't worry, it's not too taxing. It's things like, does your skin get oily? How long is your hair? Things like that. How often do you shave? How often do you shower? How often do you wear deodorant? Things that, you know, are pretty easy layups for you guys out there. And then once you're done filling out the quiz, Hawthorne's magical algorithm of goodness is like, this is the kind of stuff that we think you'd enjoy. So they sent us a bunch of stuff for him to try, and boy, oh boy, I even like some of these products. The packaging is beautiful. They all smell great. They sent me this little card with all of these fancy notes about everything. Like, for example, the 2 colognes that they sent over for him to try had a work and a play version. So one tailored for being in the office, which obviously not really in the office anymore. So basically the living room. And then the play version for when you're going out on date night. So basically when you're in the kitchen. That's quarantine dating, everybody. Brittany, it's okay. Just lead in. We know that, you know, quarantine date night is just in the kitchen.
Oh, you're speaking my truth right now. Yep.
What I thought was really interesting was that when I got this card, it says your play, so the date night cologne, is a modern fougere of cedarwood, vanilla, and lavender. And I was like, ooh, I like all those things, but how are they going to come together? And boy, it was very, very nice. But they also have body wash, hand wash, face wash, lotions, you name it. If you could put it on your body and it makes you smell good, they've got a version just for you. I think one of the scents that I liked the most were the shampoo and conditioner scents, because so often a lot of the men's body care lines that you get in big box stores just feel so generic, and these just smelled so clean and fresh, and again, like the packaging was just so sleek. If you guys want to try out some of Hawthorne's fantastic body care and take their quiz, you've got to go to hawthorne.co. That's hawthorne.co. But make sure you use our promo code What's Good to get 10% off your first purchase. That's HAWTHORNE.co to use our code What's Good to get 10% off your purchase. Feel good, smell good, be good. That's not their tagline. I just made that up. Enjoy.
It was good.
Thanks.
I was also going to say be good. So we're on the same wavelength here.
Oh, I like that. You're welcome, Hawthorne. You can use that straight from me to you. All right, Britt. I'm glad. This is what I like. Like Britt laughs. Britt, I miss you. Okay, enough about that.
Like.
I know. I'm gonna smell your hair so hard.
I will say Steimer's always been the better smelling out of all of us. So I think I'm more excited to see how Steimer's scent has evolved in these 6 months.
Yep, it's true. Can confirm. Steimer's the best smelling of us.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I'm not even wearing deodorant today, so don't get too close.
Well, good thing we're social distancing, everybody. All right, let's talk about some video games, shall we? How about we start with one of the weirdest games I've ever seen struggling.
Oh my God. Yes, let's talk about it. I think I can say with confidence that this is the funniest game I've ever played. Like, hands down. Jason and I played this co-op and we had to stop because we were so exhausted from laughing. I mean, I was snorting, I was oozing phlegm. It was not great, but it was really funny. Okay, so this game, youtube.com/what'sgoodgames, if you're trying, it's going to be hard to describe. So I first played this in 2018 at PAX East, and I tried to describe it during our panel then, but it's kind of tricky. So you are this fleshy abomination named Troy, who is actually composed of 2 heads, Achilles and Hector, and you are created in a lab. And it's a physics-based platformer with some strategy, puzzles in there. And essentially, when you're playing co-op, one person controls the left arm, one person controls the right arm. You kind of have to heave-ho your way across all of these crazy levels. And this is Chasing Rat's very first game. And while, if you're looking at this game and thinking, okay, this is absolutely crazy, this game has actually won quite a bit of awards. So it won Best in Show, Best Art Direction, Best Audio Design, and Public's Favorite at Montreal Independent Game Awards, and it won IGN's top 4 co-op games at PAX East and PC Gamer's E3 Hidden Gem. So while it's really silly, and while this game could easily just lean into the fact that it's really fucking gross and it's so silly ragdoll physics, it has a lot of really great little touches to it, attention to detail. For what it is, it's very polished. This is probably one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard in a game, which sounds really weird. It's really good, and it's so perfect for this kind of game. And yeah, this is just definitely a co-op recommendation. I would say make sure you play with someone that you communicate well with, that you don't mind if they screw up a lot, or they don't mind if you screw up a lot, because you will screw up a lot. But it is just a very unique, one of a kind of experience, and it is just hilarious. Definitely the funniest game I've ever played. So, like, if it sounds like something you might be interested in, cool. If not, it's probably not for you.
It looks like co-op.
That's a really good way of, that's a good way of describing it.
But with like Brain from the Ninja Turtles is kind of the character you are.
Yeah.
Or, wait, no, Krang?
Krang. Yeah.
I don't know why I thought his name was Brain. He just is a brain.
You thinking about Pinky and the Brain?
Maybe.
Pinky and the Brain.
Is it Krang? Is that correct? Or is it just
Yeah,
Krang?
no, Krang is right.
Okay.
Krang.
Yes. It looks like him, but with fleshy arms.
Fleshy arms, yeah.
And
So the
crop
only thing you can really
for both of
do
you.
is move your arms around, and you can grip, and that's essentially like, so one arm over, you grip, you propel yourself over, and that's how you kind of cartwheel through the levels. And there's some other puzzles in there because you get several different abilities. Like, one is you can slough your arms off whenever you want, and they can act as like their own little independent inchworms. And there's lever puzzles and like silly hats to collect, and some other pretty clever puzzles as well. And the bosses in this game are just hilarious. The music is just hilarious. The writing, it's so good. So yeah, if you're looking for a crazy game to drink or smoke to, I would say Struggling is one you should look into.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of Fogs, the game that we played also at PAX, where you're playing like a really long wiener dog, and you control, each person controls one part of it. But this one, Struggling looks like it has a lot more intricate mechanics than Fogs did. And I think that the grossness of it might prevent me from playing it.
Yeah,
but
it's a little nasty.
But if you insist that it's like so funny, I think we're going to have to try it.
Yeah.
It looks it's like a little bit of like Super Meat Boy gross though, right? Like it's just
there's a lot of like farting noises and sloppy sound, like, you know, whenever you move, it's like
I don't want to listen to the Bog of Eternal Stench.
Oh, yeah.
So whenever you like sprout your arms again, because it's physics based, so if your arms get stuck in a weird contorted position, you have to slough it off, and it goes and it like farts out. I mean, like I said, it's totally my sense of humor, and it's totally Jason's sense of humor, which is why we love it so much. But
I think you and I would need to get drunk before we played it.
Yeah, even then you might not be impressed. But if you feel like playing it, it's local co-op only, sadly.
Real drunk.
Yeah. So drunk that you don't even
not like
it.
Happy, tipsy, like drunk.
Like wasted. Like can barely hold
I
the
can't
controller.
feel my face.
like how drunk I was when you had to save my Tomb Raider demo.
Yeah, around there. Around that level.
Oh god,
Close.
that was so funny. But yeah, it's on PC and Switch only.
All right. Well, completely pivoting. Oh yes,
that is a complete pivot.
I was shoe shopping. Leave me alone. Let me go back here. To the next game that we want to talk about is Tell Me Why. So you guys
not
have
the
heard
Backstreet Boys song.
Tell me why. No, we're not gonna sing. We're not singing, Brittany.
I already sang. It happened. It's over.
You did. It's true.
Right.
So this game, created by Don't Nod. As you guys know, we've done a lot of work with Square Enix and Don't Nod in the past, but Xbox is publishing this game with Don't Nod, not Square. So just to be clear about that. And this game was announced at the Xbox E3 event last year and is a narrative adventure game much in the style of Life is Strange. And it focuses on these twins, Allison and Tyler, in a part of Alaska called Delos Crossing. And in true Don't Nod fashion, we get a story that clearly has some emotional twists and turns happening. There's something kind of dark and nefarious going on, but we don't quite know what happened. And obviously it's going to play out across 3 different episodes. So it is episodic, but what I really love is that they're releasing the episodes week after week for 3 weeks instead of making us wait multiple months between episodes, which I think is great. So I have a little bit of the trailer.
I'm sorry,
up on
he
screen.
just tripped on this trailer.
He did.
And it just made me laugh. I know.
That kid fell down.
Honestly, yes.
That's Steimer.
That's
Also,
exactly
thank you
that's
for
Steimer.
the review codes. Disclaimer.
Yes. So before we get into our thoughts about the game, as Brittany mentioned, Xbox sent us promotional copies of the game, and they also sent us some really beautiful art that we've posted. Well, I'm going to post if you guys missed it on my Twitter account. And they gave me an additional copy to give away, which I'm very excited about as well. So if you guys are interested in getting some really fantastic art from Don't Nod and Tell Me Why, head on over to my Twitter account to get the details. And let's talk a little bit about this game. So just to be clear for everybody, we are not doing spoilers. Obviously, this is a very narrative-heavy game. We will be doing a full spoiler cast in the future after all 3 episodes are out, but our impressions are just kind of high-level gameplay impressions only, so don't worry. We are not going to give anything away, but there already are some details about the game out there. As you guys know, our dear friend and co-host Rihanna Manuel has been working on this game, and she's in love with it, of course, because it's part of her baby, and she's been working on it for many months. And
parental affection.
Yes, exactly. Congrats to you. But I've also been enjoying my time with the game so far. So the story of Tyler and Allison, it starts out and it gets real dark real fast, and then you kind of got to unpack a lot of emotions. And what I think has been interesting so far is them really kind of deep diving into Tyler and Allison's past. And that includes a lot of inherently problematic for some people, or even triggering for some people, details about Tyler's life as a transgender man before Tyler's transition. And that should just be known to people who are going to play the game, that if you are not comfortable seeing that kind of material, or if it's going to potentially affect you about some memories that you've had in your life, you should know that going in. They have a very extensive FAQ on their website that goes into details. Also, spoiler warning for that as well, because in order for them to properly do an FAQ, they had to spoil a couple of things. But just so you guys have all of those details about that, both going into our coverage of the game and our eventual spoiler cast of the game. But the game. Let's talk about the game. Britt, you've been playing.
Yeah, I finished episode 1 last night, and I wasn't sure, how I'd like the story. I think it's obviously fascinating seeing the lens that we're getting the story from. I think it's really important that we get to see it through a transgendered man. But, I always go back to the very first Life is Strange when I think about Chloe and Max, right? Like, I've been a young, angsty teenage girl. That really clicked with me. I think about Life is Strange 2 with the brothers, and, like, that sort of clicked with me, but not as much as the first one did, because I've never had a brother and I've never been a boy before. And then I think about this game, I was like, okay, how am I going to connect with these characters? And it clicked really, really quickly, and I just fell in love with the dynamic between the siblings. It's hard to talk about it because you don't want to go into spoilers, but watching these two interact and watching the little subtle nods and the little subtle life lessons I think you can learn from playing a game like this is so incredibly important. I don't know if we've ever had a main character be transgender before in a game especially in a game like this, but one where you really get to live through that lens. And I think it's a really important game to be out there. I can't talk about that. That's a spoiler. Never mind. I can't go there.
You're like, never mind. Also,
now
that I watched you played the trailer again, I'm like, oh, I'm an asshole. Like, there's someone with a gun chasing that person. I literally had looked up just when the trip and fall happened. Oh, you mean with the kid tripping? Yes. Yeah. I did not know there was a man with a person, but I actually don't know if it was a man or a woman, but someone with a gun.
It was a woman with a gun.
Oh, it was okay.
Yeah.
I just saw the gun and then I was like, oh. I was like, oh, okay. They fell down for a reason. Oop.
Yeah, you'll learn about everything that happens in Tyler and Allison's early life and kind of like what sets them up to where they're at currently. But there is a sort of supernatural mechanic again at play, which I won't disclose for spoiler reasons, that I'm interested to see how they're going to develop that over the next 2 episodes. The connection that they have as twins is something that they really lean into narratively, which I find interesting, because while a lot of us out there have siblings, very few people have a twin, and that special connection that twins have is something that I find really fascinating, and some of the science around that, they kind of play into in the narrative here, which I think is great. And one of the things I noticed right away about my hands-on time with Tell Me Why was just how beautiful the environments are.
Oh,
Clearly a progression for Don't Nod in the graphics department. Obviously, the Life is Strange series in the past it's not known for its graphics because it's meant to be more of like a watercolor kind of style of art. But this one, the lighting, like the effects on the snow, the pine needles on the trees, they made Alaska look good.
They did.
I mean, Alaska is very pretty.
Yes,
it is.
Yes, it is.
But even the cutscenes are really impressive as well. And I noticed that too, Andrea, while playing. I'm like, God, this just looks really nice. Definitely a graphical upgrade, which is to be expected. It's further along in the cycle, blah, blah, blah. But it just looks really great. And I think it's a really awesome art style for this game. And I'm really excited to do the spoiler cast, but obviously, I'm trying not to say anything that could be a spoiler because now that I finished it, but I feel like the little things I might say might be taken as a spoiler. So I feel you.
I mean, I think the only kind of slight disappointment for me, because I'm going to reserve full thoughts until I'm done with the game, is that I still feel like the formula that was developed for Life is Strange is just a little formulaic, for lack of a better word, here in Tell Me Why. I was kind of hoping they were going to take it one step further. The pacing of it just feels a little slow for me, even slower than I felt with Life is Strange 2. So I'm not quite sure how Dontnod could potentially revamp that or innovate on what they've created with this narrative adventure to make it feel a little bit more engaging. It just feels like there's a lot of color context in the world where you pick up an item or you look at a photo and you get some dialogue about what that means to the character. But so many of those things don't feel like they're meaningful.
Yeah.
And the hard part is you don't know what's going to be meaningful or not until you get to the end of the game. And that was one of my biggest kind of groans about Life is Strange 2, even though I really loved that game, was that I just felt like I wasted some time maybe going around looking at every little detail, but then those details weren't necessarily as impactful on the overall story as I wanted them to be.
Yeah, I haven't played Tell Me Why yet at all. I haven't even downloaded it yet. But I agree with you on this, especially with like Life is Strange in general. I didn't notice it, I don't think, as much in 1 because it was the first one, so you're like just excited. Oh, there's this different mechanic, this is neat, whatever. But with 2, I was like, there's a lot of exposition for not a lot of payoff. So I eventually just stopped picking things up unless I needed to, or unless I really felt like it. Like, I really want a one-liner about this baseball. Like, I'm curious to go into this game and see how I feel about it. But yeah, I will agree that in general, with a lot of the Dontnod / the Life is Strange sort of formulas, I wish that they would push it a little farther and do, because obviously they think the thing that really helped the first Life is Strange was the rewind mechanic. It made it a lot like more interactive. When you lost that in 2, it kind of it diminishes it a little bit, right? Because you lack the action. And so for this one, again, I'm in the dark as to what the mechanics are, but I think that they need to work on that a little bit more. Like, I don't know, maybe like lean more puzzly, like do something where I, as the player, feel like I have a bit more agency what's going on versus just walking from point A to point B to watch a cutscene.
Yeah. There was one really good puzzle that they did in the first episode that I liked that required me to like look at this thing and then go back and look at this thing, and then I had to go back and look at the thing again, and you had to kind of decipher the clues, and it was like I thought it was really fun. Nicely done, but there wasn't enough of those. But I'm hoping that it's going to pick up a little bit more. I was talking to Steimer before we got the recording going today about how I really love this style of game. I am a huge fan of Dontnod's work. Not just because I've had the amazing opportunity to work with the studio, but also because I think that they're telling really great stories and they're doing them very well. But this isn't the real vibe that I want right now. I'm like worried that it's going to take me to like a mentally dark place, and it's going to make me feel emotions I'm trying not to feel right now, knowing that we're all a little bit stressed with the pandemic. And like that's something that I very much struggled with during TLU 2. And obviously this is a much different scale than TLU, and it's much different subject content, but it's still weighty, it's still emotional, it's still heavy, and you have to make choices that are going to have consequences that are going to impact the characters in the game. And I just don't know if I'm up for it. I just don't know if I have the fortitude for it right now.
Yeah, that was one of my concerns, like I was saying earlier before I started, was like, am I really in the mood for this right now? Am I? And the honest answer was no, I wasn't. But I did start the game up, and because, like I said, the dynamic between the two characters really clicked with me, and I think it's through, again, the lens we haven't seen enough of for that reason. And, you know, you can kind of see, like, I think you could give this game to someone and be like, you need help understanding other people's perspective, play this. And I think it really does give subtle hints of like how to be a good person,
how not to be
an ally, yeah, how not to be an asshole. Like, and I think that's really important. So Andrew, you haven't finished the first episode, right?
No, not all the way. I'm like, okay, feel like I'm very close to the end. I just was playing it last night, and I just got tired, and I was like, okay, I can't keep my eyes open anymore. I'll finish it tomorrow, and then the day just ran away from me.
Okay. Yeah, because I would say after I finished, I didn't get that super, because I guess going into it, I was worried, like, I don't want to feel all these things right now, but I found it to be, while dark, more uplifting than not. And obviously I think
but you and I both felt that way about Tilu.
Right, and that's what I'd say is everyone, I think, takes things differently, handles these emotions differently. Obviously, I'm not transgender, so I'm probably not going to get triggered like some folks might. And that's totally understandable, and that's fine. But personally, I just was like, oh, this is great. This actually makes me feel kind of good.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you in the sense that there are some really great moments of levity, particularly when they're showing, Allison and Tyler kind of reconnecting after being away from each other for several years and remembering some things about their childhood and talking about some of these really bright memories and things that make them connected and closer together and really shows their bond. I think that that's really great. And that's what Don't Nod is so great at, is showing those human relationships and those connections. And I have no doubt that we're going to get even more of that in the episodes to come. I feel like with all of Don't Nod's narrative games, when you look at the first episode, you kind of feel like they're just dangling something in front of you, and it doesn't like take the twist until like episode 2 or 3, and then it gets real heavy like in episode 4 or 5. But now we only have 3 episodes, so I'm like, all right, got to fast track it in episodes 2 and 3, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm excited to play more. I just, need to, like you said, be in the right mental place. But again, don't take this, anybody listening or watching, that I'm criticizing the game because I wasn't in the right mental place. Like I said, I'm really enjoying the game so far. It's just so you guys are aware. Just like I tried to warn you about Tilu, and then everyone's like, whatever, Andrea. And then afterwards we're like, oh my God, you were right. Just saying. Just mentally prepare yourself. That's all.
I feel like I'm not going to play this until all of the episodes are out, which is not that long of a wait, just because I know that they are coming out in like fairly quick succession. That for me, I'd rather just be like, I know that I have them all banked. And so if I feel like running through 2 of them at a time, I can. Or if I'm like, no, actually just do 1 at a time. It still feels a little bit better to have everything than to be like, well, now I got to wait, even if it is for a week.
Yeah. Those cliffhangers, man. Speaking about hanging off of cliffs, how about those big hands of Ms. Marvel, huh?
Oh,
like,
man.
With that?
It's
Nicely
like, I mean,
that was some kind of a transition.
I thought you were going to go for Hulk, but I mean, yes, she also,
I'm so excited to hear what you two think. I think this has been so fascinating, all the beta impressions we got, not only from you, but from the internet as a whole. And now it feels like, for the most part, it's been 180.
Before we get into our hands-on with Marvel's Avengers, I want to give a big thank you and shout out to Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics for sending us Earth's Mightiest Editions. They have some really fun toys, and I posted a photo on my Instagram. I believe reposted a boomerang. Britt, did you post a photo?
I put it all on my Insta stories.
Unboxing.
Oh my gosh, I love your unboxings.
I know. I think it's funny that the one who knows the least about all of this is the one unboxing it. But you know what? It'll be good. It'll be great.
Listen, it's you. You make everything sparkle. Okay, time to talk about the game.
Yeah, well, I didn't play the beta because again, I don't fuck with betas.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
great.
I hate it. Like I don't even like playing demos at E3 if I think it's going to be the same thing I have to play again when I get the game. I just do not like replaying parts. Don't know what it is. Probably an irrational thing, but whatever. There we go. So I didn't play any of the beta. All I'd played was the demo that we'd done on E3 and just seen everything that they had released since then. And going into this campaign, I started playing the campaign. I'm like 40% through. And I just think we were talking about, and tell me why, how you guys weren't sure whether or not this was like the tone that you needed. I can say without a doubt, Avengers is exactly what I needed. Like in terms of, this is the most wholesome, like adorable campaign that I'm going through right now. And it's just, yes, there are things that are irritating me about this game, but overall the feeling that I have is a positive one because it is just such kind of like a little bright light in my world right now. You're just like, oh, I just could go play this fun, dumb game about superheroes. Like what's not to like about that? And it's about friends and it's about the power of friendship and all this garbage, So I think that it's really, and a lot of it is Kamala, right? Like Kamala Khan. That actress is nailing everything with her. She's doing just a stand-up job of like being something that's really endearing, really naive, really like all of those wonderful things that you could get annoyed with. Like honestly, if she had played this any other way, it could borderline on irritating. But she never crosses over into that for me. She's always the right amount of genuine.
She's so pure, right? Like,
yeah.
And the opening sequence that I streamed the other day where you're at A-Day and you're playing like young Kamala is just so heartwarming and endearing. Here's a little bit on screen of Avengers Day. And it's just like, you get all the good feels, which is exactly like Steimer said, like what I was looking for. And so far, I'm just really impressed with what I've seen and just so confused why the beta did not look like this.
What was the beta? I can't remember what you said the content was.
So the beta felt like, well, the first part of the beta was like the tutorial mission that we played together at PAX. Like what?
I feel like the tutorial is the worst part of this game, at least so far. I actually also was like, when I played through the tutorial again, I was like, I fucking hate this tutorial.
It was so long ago that you played it.
Yeah. Because I'm just like, oh God, like you're just throwing me in all these different things that I'll do. I don't know. For me, the hero I like the least is Iron Man. And that has been re-emphasized over and over again as I'm playing this game. I was like, fucking Iron Man.
Stupid Iron Man. Yeah, so far, Kamala is my favorite as well. I haven't spent enough time with the other heroes because I'm just pretty early into the campaign. But graphically, the game looks light years better than the beta did. And I'm just so confused as to how there's such a difference. But I was playing it on 1080p on the stream the other day, and then I tried the 4K HDR version on my TV inside on the PS4 Pro, and it just looks great. It looks like the game that I expect from Crystal Dynamics, having seen what they did with Tomb Raider, because that was one of our criticisms after spending time in the beta, that I was like, how does the game look like this when Tomb Raider looked better? But now that I'm playing in the main campaign, I was like, okay, this is what I expect. But again, there are some glitches with the game. There are some bugs. There's some game-breaking bugs that we've heard about.
Yeah.
And I think that Crystal Dynamics is going to have to kind of work really diligently to polish some of that stuff up, but I'm glad that they got the game out there. You know, there was a slight annoyance on my part with how they decided to segment out the multiplayer and the single player, so that if you wanted to jump right into multiplayer missions, they very clearly say this is going to spoil the campaign if you go to multiplayer right away.
Yes.
And I was kind of bummed by that. I was hoping that they would at least give like a couple of missions that you could play with friends if you wanted to just dabble. But if you want to not be spoiled, you have to play through the entire single player campaign first before you go into multiplayer.
Some of those here's the confusing part though. So yes, you have the single player campaign. I don't know how long it is. I'm 40% through right now.
And about how many hours would you think you put in?
I actually don't know.
That's such a hard question, right?
I'm like, I'm not good enough to do that right now. I'll report back to you.
Okay.
Okay.
But the thing is that along the single player campaign, you will have multiplayer missions in there that you can do. So I've partied up actually with Jackie a couple of times for campaign missions. So it is, but it's just a bizarre way of them doing it. So they're like, it's single player, and you're like, well, it is single player for the most part. But then you can hop in at certain points where it will say multiplayer mode. You can either match make that, so you can play with strangers if you'd like, if that's your jam. Don't know why it would be, but you might be. Or you can have them just be AI. And then, or you can invite somebody and party up with them. So her and I have done a few missions like that together. I'm always Hulk. She's always Kamala. Because here was the weird part. So her and I originally played about the same amount. Her Kamala is double the power level of mine. And I don't know why. And she doesn't know why either. She also is like way light years ahead of me in terms of leveling. It makes no sense to me. I don't know why.
Are you guys playing on different difficulties?
No, we're both playing on normal. And when you play multiplayer, you select one. It's one mode for the both of you.
Right. That makes sense.
So it was just bizarre. But the only thing I wish a little bit more, because I do like, you're in the middle of the single player and you're playing on your own, and then you can invite a friend to one part, and that's fun because the mission makes sense for you to both be doing it. But then it immediately jumps back into a single player mode. So you're like, okay, bye. Like, thanks for playing with me for like 30 minutes. And then you can play through the single player mission. And then usually like there's a couple single player missions. And then you can do it again. You can have another multiplayer mission. Then it's also just like 30 minutes of you playing with your friend. And then peace out. You got to go do something else where it's just me. So I wish that the cadence of that was maybe a little smoother, where you could have a few back-to-back multiplayer missions. Maybe toward the end of the campaign, maybe it'll get there. But right now it feels a little bit weird and jarring, but it's also still fun. Like I have more fun when I'm playing with Jackie, because it's just fun to like goof around, and I'm Hulk and like I think Hulk is probably one of my favorite. Is probably my favorite, I think, so far.
No, but this is interesting to hear because in the first time I played, I really liked Hulk. Then in the beta, I hated the gameplay with Hulk. It felt slow. The animations felt heavy. I kept dying with him, and he's supposed to be the tank, and I got really bummed out. So now obviously, like, they've tailored specific single player missions to specific heroes, and so you have to play that hero for that mission.
Yeah,
but in multiplayer, I don't know what I'm going to do now. So you're saying it's good though.
I love playing Hulk personally. And I just find his style is like really fun for me. I also just think Hulk's number one, animations are great. Number two, his dialogue is great. I always laugh when I'm playing as Hulk because he'll just say something where I'm like, yes, I love you. You're the greatest. I also like that they changed. So around the world, you will find loot boxes of different kinds. Each character opens the box a little differently. Hulk just kicks it.
Nice.
Like, I love that he just kicks it. He's like, hey, fuck you. He's also like, he moves really fast for a big guy. And if you do sort of the bounding leap that you'll get on because the other thing too is like a lot of the maps, a lot of the missions will open up onto a map that you can explore, and you can find chests, or you can find fragments of components that you will need later on. You really can take your time and run around and explore, which is what anytime Jackie and I are doing a mission, we run around, we find everything first, and then we go do the mission. I sometimes lose patience with it if I'm on my own, and sometimes I'm like, fuck it, I'm not getting the chest. I'll go. But if her and I are paired up, we'll get everything, and it's really fun. But yeah, so I think there's just like a little bit of I'm so comfortable with Hulk, though. The problem is anytime it forces me to play somebody else, which is what you're talking about, how as you go along the campaign, sometimes you need to play as this particular hero. I find it's so much harder because I'm so used to Hulk, and I'm used to how he functions and how if you hit rage and like smash some people, you'll get some health back, that I die so much more easily on any of the other characters that it's really irritating. Also, like,
why can't everybody be the tank?
I've been playing on normal for the most part. I had to drop it down to easy for one particular part with Iron Man because I just could not fucking do it. And I was like, I don't know how Iron Man on his own is supposed to do shit, because you're giving me like these giant ass robots coming at me, and I'm not coordinated enough for this. I can't fly around and shoot the thing and not get hit all at the same time.
I think I know which part you're at because John was playing that part, and out of the corner of my eye, I was playing Tell Me Why, and he was playing Avengers, and I kept seeing this loading screen. I was like, wow, there's like a lot of loading screens back to back. And he was like, yeah, thanks. It's because I'm dying over and over again. And I was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to call you out.
It does take a long time that's also another very minor irritation, is that the loading sucks. I've died a lot with Kamala by falling off.
Yes, Tomb Raider. Let me tell you, it's Crystal Dynamics, slippery slopes on all of their edges.
Yes.
You just you jump and you fall off.
You hit the button, but it doesn't go, and so you just fall to your death.
And then there's this very painfully long loading screen to get back to the situation. And at least in the last Tomb Raider and Shadow of the Tomb Raider, they gave you all of those difficulty sliders, and I turned the traversal slider down to the lowest setting.
Yeah.
So it meant that I couldn't fall off those ledges, but
yeah.
Avengers doesn't have those same sliders, which maybe they can patch those in the future, which would be really cool. But
please,
yeah, it's
falling all the time.
The in-air control is not great.
Yeah, there are definitely parts that I wish were more polished. I think Iron Man is one of them. I wish he just felt a little better. Some people might disagree with me. Maybe they'll love playing as Iron Man, but for me, I'm like, I don't really like this, and I don't like that I have to do this on my own. I wish that at least the other AI were there. Someone, please help me, for the love of God. But
what are you doing, Black Widow? You can't come over here and pew pew some things?
I feel like for me, for this game, he's the weakest link in that terms. I think his character is great. I love Nolan playing him. There's no issues with any of that. It's just gameplay wise, I don't really like being him. But I don't imagine that'll be a huge issue, because the way it's kind of feels like it's structured is you'll play a little bit as each of them, and then I'm hoping I don't actually know how it will end, obviously, but hoping that at some point it will just be pick who you want to pick and be that person for most of the campaign.
That is the way that it works. So when you are done with the campaign, you get to choose your multiplayer character, and then you can choose to just level up that multiplayer character. Yeah, but like we said, that they handcrafted specific missions around each of the individual heroes, I obviously to showcase them and showcase their abilities. The thing that I have found also like just a little overwhelming at the beginning of the game is just the sheer amount of menus that are in the game. Yeah, so you've got a very dense gear system, progression system, cosmetics system. There's a variety of collectibles, when I say a variety, I mean like a crap ton of collectibles to get in the game. And I think fans are going to love sinking their teeth into that. I think someone like me who already has a lot of other inventory simulators that I play, I'm like, oh no, not another one.
What kind of collectibles are they?
It's just like comic book stuff. It's all comic related things. Or like I found lab notes and stuff like that. So it's just stuff that's I actually have not opened up the menu once to go look and see what any of it is, if I'm being completely honest.
Audio logs.
I just pick it up. Okay. Pick it up, put it in my pack, and move on with my life.
like I'll look at this eventually.
Yeah, maybe. But I think overall the game has a lot of potential.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that as they continue to polish it and work with it, it will only get better. And so that's what's really exciting for me about it, because as I've said, whenever I've been playing with Jackie, I've really enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. Even if we get annoyed at a certain part, you're there together. And like you just get to feel, I'm like, sometimes it'll do really cool finisher moves. You just get to watch me Hulk out on something. I'm like, yes, this is stupid and fun, and I love this. This is what I want. So I am very excited about where this could possibly go. I will say, yeah, I don't think it's the most eloquent getting there sometimes. For instance, again, I'm 40% through the campaign, and it's opened up a bunch of stuff I can't do until the end game. I don't know why they bothered giving it to me. Like it was like, here, do you want to do this mission for this faction? And I said, yes, sure. Because I didn't know when you select it, it doesn't tell you what power level it is. It was power level 40 or something. And I was like, that's nowhere near. I'm in the teens. Like I'm not gonna be there for quite some time. But this mission also expires in a day, so thanks. So it's like it's giving you a taste of the daily missions that will be there eventually for you as end game content. I just don't know why they gave it to me now when they knew that I'm not there.
Well, particularly since when we're recording this episode, the game hasn't launched worldwide. It's launched in early access. Well, really pre-release access is probably a more accurate way of saying it for people who bought the deluxe editions. And I think that, you maybe start to roll out those daily and weekly missions next week after everybody has played through the campaign, has done all of the war missions. Then you say, hey, we're going to show you what some of the other content is, because there's plenty of content in the game as is.
There is. I think at least they should have held up. So basically how the factions work so far is you will run across them in your game and you can pick up these missions for them. Some of them are really small, and it's just like you will down smash 200 enemies as Hulk with rage on. Something like that, where you can just equip it, not really think about it. You'll be doing it as you play anyway. But they probably should not have put hunt the big bads, because each one has hunt a big bad once a day. And that's the one where you can't really do it until you actually get gear for it. So I don't know why. Oh God, Hulk in this fucking outfit is so amazing. I also can't wait to dress up my Hulk. Like, I just can't wait. I'm excited for doing stupid shit like putting
costumes.
Hulk in a floral tank top and a beachy hat and beating people up with it. Like, that's the thing that really gets me going in the morning.
That's what gets you out of bed. So Sam, I remember you kept saying that when you were first like listening to Andrea's impressions and watching the footage, that this probably would seem like a dumb popcorn flicky game to pick up and play. Do you feel like it's still that, or do you feel like it's elevated above that?
It's that, but it's way more wholesome than I actually expected it to be. It is the dumb popcorn movie flick at times, but it actually has a really great heart to it that I was not expecting. And I think that is the thing that it really didn't touch on, to be honest, in a lot of its marketing or PR up to now.
No, that's such a great point because I think Marvel has really excelled at that with the MCU, right? So if you think about why people love the MCU so much, it's because it has that endearing, heartwarming aspect to it, along with over-the-top amazing action, like great humor and moments of levity, all kind of like in this like secret sauce that Marvel is so good at. And that definitely shines through, Steimer. I'm so glad that you brought that up in Marvel's Avengers, and I agree. I think that maybe the only thing I can think is that they wanted to hold it for fans to experience on their own, and the only way to do that is to not show people, but the risk is you are holding your best content back and potentially alienating some potential buyers or consumers of your game because they don't know just how good it is. But I think the word of mouth is now spreading that like, whoa, this game is definitely better than we thought it was.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend and they were like, what game should I play next? Or whatever. I was like, I had just started Avengers, so I was like maybe 2 or 3 hours in. And I was like, what about Avengers? And they were like, that game is supposed to be awful, like awful in all caps. And I was just like, damn. Like
normally that's what I would say.
I know. I'm just like, well, no, I feel like, I mean, I really don't want to ever call anything just awful, especially before I've even played it. But it's just like, look, I'll admit it's not the most polished in parts. I wish that they had probably done a better job with the old polishing brush, but the heart is there. And that for me is really exciting. So if you were somebody who was interested in this game and was like, I can't afford it quite yet, I think this game, like I already said, it's going to age like a fine wine. They will continue to add to it, continue to refine it. Hopefully they can tighten up some of the gameplay on some of the heroes. And then it'll just feel like even better moving on down the gate, because you'll have that fun, heartwarming campaign, and then you'll have the dumb popcorn flicky fun later where you're just running through dumb missions with your friends being like, oh, I'm a Hulk, which is what I'm going to do. And it's going to be great for a while. Is it going to be forever? Probably not. But like, you'll definitely have a good time with it, I think, for your money's worth. Also, I don't remember if we did the disclaimer at the top.
We didn't.
Thank you, Square Enix, for sending us copies of this game.
Thank you.
I want to know if you think that this is scratching your DCUO itch.
I think it will. Time will tell later at the end game for me, because the two. So playing through the campaign missions with her, I'm like, yes, this is like if it's stuff like this, yes, this will be fun, and it will have a little bit of narrative, but it will be fast and we can run around and combo powers and do all that kind of stuff. If it is like, so we also have done some other just random side multiplayer that we happen to be at the power level 4, because she unfortunately did run into a game-breaking bug that they are hopefully working on a fix for. We don't know how widespread it is because, like you said, game hasn't officially launched everywhere yet. But so she couldn't play like everything with me, so we were like, well, let's just do these random missions that really have nothing to do with anything, but will get you a little bit of better gear. And playing those was like kind of a whatever. Those very much were filler quests where it was just like, go to this world, and like it was like 20 minutes, right? You're just in and out. So if it's stuff like that, I do not see me sticking around for very long. But if they really try to build it out and keep the campaign going in missions that are fun, even if it's just slightly narrative driven, stuff where you have all the co-op, like that's something that could really be a strong contender for something that you play for a while. But it's too hard to say at this point because like we're not even through the campaign yet. We haven't been able to get to the real meat of the end game yet. We do not know.
It's true. But what I do like is that it's going to give us something to play for the month of September to tide you over until the tidal wave of games that begins in October and will crash into us even more intensely in November gets underway. I think it's really smart of them to get out of the way of the other games coming later in the fall, and I hope people will give it a shot if they're interested in Avengers stuff. Obviously, if you want to wait it out, like Steimer said, wait it out. This will probably be part of a bundle or some kind of sale around Black Friday if I had to guess, if I was a wagering woman, which I definitely am.
Yeah.
This will be, somebody's going to have this in some kind of Black Friday deal on it. So you can maybe save a couple bucks.
Like I said, so the only part I wish, and I hope that they would get there with, because I feel like we've had some really good superhero games, right? We've had Batmans, we've had Spider-Man. I will say, just to obviously give everybody a heads up, like combat not like that. Not like that here. Like it's not that tight, it's not that crisp. I will say I feel like Black Widow feels pretty good. She's also pretty like
she was my favorite from the beta.
And yeah, she's pretty good too. But I feel like it maybe was hard for them to try and balance the amount of heroes that they have and like give them all the same time and dedication or whatever, try to figure out what to do with them. I don't think any of them are awful, all caps. But I do think some of them are stronger, or I think some of them are more fun than others, but
cool.
That's it.
All right.
That's about the Avengers.
Yeah. You were going to team up? You, me, Britt?
Yeah, let's do superhero shit.
Yay.
I'm sorry I took the character you'd probably most likely be.
Can we both be Hulk?
No, can only be one.
You'll have to take turns. Turns.
It's true.
This is going to be a problem.
It's okay. You guys can do it. You can share, right?
Hulk.
That's what spouses do. They share.
A healthy relationship is built off of compromise and understanding and empathy. Steimer, I think we got this.
And normally I would
Hulk
say just let your wife have what she
emotions.
wants, but you're both the wife, so what are you going to do now? Happy wife, happy life. You both have to get what you want, so that means sharing.
Sharing
Yes, Mom.
is caring. It can be fun.
I like that song. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this segment of the What's Good Games podcast. When we come back, Rihanna Manuel has a special interview you don't want to miss. Welcome back, everybody. It's the final segment of the What's Good Games podcast. Before we get to our special interview from Rihanna Manuel, I want to let you know this segment is brought to you by AT&T 5G. Rooster Teeth is joining forces with Samsung and AT&T 5G to kick things off for the upcoming RTX at-home virtual event, which, don't forget, What's Good Games is on a panel on Thursday, September 17th. RT is creating a Ruby outdoor mural that you can add art to from home with the Mark Augmented Reality app. Just download the Mark app, that's M-A-R-K, and start creating your own Ruby art starting on September 5th through September 7th. Each night, fans' designs will be projected on the mural wall, and you could see yours come to life on social media. If you're on the AT&T 5G network at home, you can access Plus mode through the Mark app, so you will get the highest res video and crystal clear images to explore on the app. Check out the new Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra 5G powered by AT&T 5G. AT&T 5G requires compatible plan, and coverage is not available in all areas. Cloud gaming will be available with the power of 5G, so you can try out cloud gaming with high-performance experiences, brought to you by the newest Samsung devices, powered, of course, by AT&T 5G. The Galaxy Note 20 Ultra 5G also has a 120Hz adaptive display that automatically adjusts the refresh rate according to the content that you're viewing, and an intelligent battery life that optimizes for your gameplay. Between 5G support, Wi-Fi optimization, and the advanced processor, you get a smooth gaming experience with virtually no lag. Check out the S Pen and Samsung Note to create your own works of art. Head on over to att.com/Galaxy Note 20 Ultra 5G to learn how you can get the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 5G for free, or the Galaxy Note 20 5G Ultra for $299.99 for a limited time. Listen, we all know that Rihanna Manuel is Apex Legends superfan at What's Good Games, #1 with an exclamation point. And when the opportunity to talk to the actress Anjali Bhimani came across our desk, Ree was like, please, can we do this interview? And I was like, heck yes, we can. Anjali sounds super cool. So if you guys are like, wait a minute, who's Anjali? She is the voice actress that plays Rampart, the newly introduced hero in Apex Legends. They're called something else, aren't they? They're called Legends. Duh, it's called Apex Legends. I know my video games. I'm not a fake gamer girl, I promise. So Anjali was so kind to give us some of her time. I just sat behind the scenes and pulled some of the production levers while Ree did this fantastic interview talking to Anjali about playing Rampart, about playing other characters like Symmetra in Overwatch and Nisha in Fallout, and what that representation as a woman of color in the voice acting community and as a woman of color in the nerd and gaming community at large means, not only to that community of players, but also for representation and what that representation means. And it was a really, really great conversation, and I hope you guys enjoy.
First off, Anjali, thank you so much for speaking with me today. I'm really excited to hear about some of the cool projects that you've been doing lately. But first off, do you want to just give me a quick rundown of what you do, who you are, and how you came to be in the gaming space?
Sure. Well, my name is Anjali Bhimani, and I have been an actress since the dawn of time for most of my life, for most of my professional life. And so I started in the theater, and then I moved into television and film. And then the last branch of the tree to really join the branch of the tree, because I had theater, I had music, I had all of the live performing arts, then TV and film. And the last branch of the tree that came into there was voiceover. And so through the voiceover world, I started getting involved in games from the production side. I had been playing games since I was a kid. But that's how I started getting involved in games. And I think one of my first big gigs was playing Symmetra in Overwatch, which has been an incredible blessing. And then most recently, Rampart in Apex Legends.
Yes, huge fan of both characters, by the way. And
awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned you played a lot of games as a kid, and I did do a tiny bit of research. I see you grew up in Ohio.
Well, I didn't actually grow up in Ohio, but I was born there. So
You were born there.
I'm a legitimate Cleveland Indian, but
Okay.
I moved. My family moved to Southern California, to Orange County, right before I turned 4.
So you're saying you grew up in Southern California. What was like the representation like in California? Were there a lot of other folks who share your background? Were there other Indians that you knew growing up, like being in the theater or just being in performing arts in general?
You know, it's funny, and I say this jokingly, but it's largely truth, is that I did not really realize that I didn't see proof that dark hair and dark eyes were a dominant gene until I left Orange County. So no, there were not a lot of people who looked like me or who were like me that were in my school or who were around me. There's definitely a great Indian community that I grew up around. Aunties and uncles from like all sorts of parts of Orange County, but very nearby to where I was, and at my school, no, there wasn't. I think I may have been one of 2 Indian girls in my high school, and so it was definitely a whole different world than I experienced after I graduated and then went off to college at Northwestern and then, stayed in Chicago and then moved to New York. I was suddenly seeing a lot more variety, a lot more diversity in the world. That said, I was also very fortunate because in Orange County, I never really experienced, very little, but I never really experienced any kind of prejudice or any kind of bias against me because of my background. And I know that in the world today, it's a different world that we live in right now. We'll just leave it at that. I definitely feel like in that sense, especially, I led a rather privileged upbringing because I didn't have to deal with that. So I only saw my ethnicity as something that was part of the unique combination of things that made me me. I never saw it as something that I was made fun of for or something that I was necessarily lauded for. It was just another thing. It was just another aspect of who I was, which is why I love the characters that I get to play in these games so much, because they are the same way. They're very unique characters, and their ethnic background is only one part of who they are.
What was it like being a part of the creation process for Symmetra and Rampart and I believe Nisha in Fallout 4?
Yes, Nisha. Yes, absolutely. It's been pretty darn magical. I will say that because, all my young life and most of my adult life, I have wanted to be an action hero. And so this has been the closest experience I've had so far to actually being able to be part of something where there is a person who looks like me and maybe sounds like someone that people haven't seen stepping into that kind of role. And so, for example, on the first day of recording for Overwatch, I remember the dev team and Andrea Toyas, who's both the casting director over there and does a lot of the voice direction for stuff through Blizzard. We talked about the character and we talked about all of the things that make her unique. And I saw the art for the first time at that recording session and just fell in love with her. And it's been with her and with Rampart. It's been such a wonderful thing to be part of the process of bringing a diverse character who is, again, not unique only because of their ethnicity, to bring this complicated person to life along with the creators of the role. So yes, they wrote it, and yes, they created it, and obviously the animation and all of the things that they have done, like they have created the majority of what these characters are. But to be able to step in and be a part of the process, and for them to allow me to give input in terms of how she's brought to life has been really, really lovely. The collaborative process has been really lovely.
That's amazing. And I can definitely tell it lights you up, and it definitely comes through in your performances. And it's interesting you talk about these characters because I can see there's a lot of you in them, but there's a lot to Symmetra in Rampart that are different from you. Symmetra is on the spectrum and Rampart has an accent. Like, can you tell me what it is like to balance that difference and how you bring parts of yourself, but then also parts that are maybe outside of your experience in order to represent this character in a diverse light?
I mean, the thing is, look, voice acting is acting at its core, right? You can't be a voice actor if you're not a good actor. You're storytelling. So creating a character, whether you're creating a character on stage or creating a character on television or creating a character in film or wherever, dance, anything, you're always going to be bringing some aspects of yourself to that character, and also then imagining parts of it, because that's the job, right? The job is to act as if, to what if I was a light bending architect in this futuristic universe? What if I was this loudmouth modder in this world that's 700 years in the future on a planet far away? There's always going to be some aspect of the experience that is not the actual life that you're living, and that's the creative part, right? That's the exciting creative part. So for me, a lot of times it will be clear when I do the audition if there are specific things that I'm like, oh, that's so like me, or oh, that that totally resonates with me. Even if it's not like me, I think of someone I know or family member or something like that. A Symmetra, the idea of Symmetra, when I did the audition, I was like, she's so elegant. She reminds me of one of my cousins in India, who I've nicknamed her the Queen of Mumbai, because she can get anything done in that. It's amazing. She can get anything done in that city where like traffic moves like this, and I don't know how she does it. So you pull from your experience, but then it really is just letting your imagination fly as if you were a kid again, playing pretend in your room. Because I think we're all incredible actors and actresses when we're children, because no child is pretending to be a fairy princess. In that moment, she is a fairy princess, and you all better believe she's a fairy princess. So I think a lot of times the real world breaks us of that habit, because we're all trying to fit into the molds that we're supposed to fit into for our lives. And then you go to drama school and they try to break away all of those walls and get you back into that play mode again. And so it really is, it's just a matter of that. It's a matter of playing. And then specifically for voice acting, obviously figuring out how you're going to be able to channel all of that not using your whole instrument. Not getting to use, I may be being physical, and I usually am very physical in the booth, but ultimately I know that all you're going to hear is what is coming out here. So how do I channel that? That's also part of the technique, and that's part of the technical aspect of things.
Yeah, and I love hearing the way you talk about childhood and the magic of that. And you mentioned that you did play games growing up, and I'm curious to know, like, who are some of your gaming inspirations in the games that you played, or did you ever see yourself in some characters that you played as a child?
I didn't necessarily make that connection as a child. It was always like, I'm playing the game, or these are my heroes that I'm moving around. I started really, I mean, my gaming, like my real gaming history started with D&D when I was like 8. My brother played D&D, and he's 4 years older than me, and I wanted to be him. I just like wanted to do anything that he did. I wanted to do it. And he bought me this basic D&D set when I was 8, and I devoured it. And then I wanted to play his version, so I got the AD&D set, and then it was off to the races. So I played D&D pretty much through high school, like tabletop campaigns with my buddies, and then I think I started veering into playing on the PC and playing specifically D&D games on the PC probably my junior or senior year of high school. Definitely played a lot of it. 100% played a lot of it. I remember the summer after senior year of high school. It was all Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter Nights and Shadows of Amn and all of those expansion packs. But it was always again a form of storytelling to me. That's why I love RPGs so much. That's why I love tabletop RPGs so much. I mean, they really are just long form improv, but instead of you getting your suggestions from the audience, you get them from your dungeon master or your game master and the dice. And so for me, it's always been another way to tell stories. And that's what acting is at its core too. So I think that's where my love for all of it came in. I think that's that. And I always loved fantasy fiction too. I read a lot when I was a kid, sci-fi and fantasy fiction. And so it just felt like a natural progression to add gaming to that, because as a gamer, you are the storyteller, you are in the story. And that to me was always a little bit more fun than just watching a story from afar.
Yeah, and you're clearly part of several different fandoms, and now you're officially on the other side. Like, can you tell me what it's like to see fans who see Symmetra, who see Nisha, who see Rampart, and they say like, "Oh my gosh, she looks like me." Like, what is that been like for you?
It is. I mean, I cry so often at those reactions. I say, I know we're not doing conventions right now, but every convention, two things are certain to happen. One, I am sure to cry multiple times when I meet people who come to my table. And chances are I probably shouldn't say this because it's not going to help me get employed, but chances are I will lose my voice at some point during the weekend because I enjoy talking with them so much. And then I'll have to take some time off and chill and like save my voice. But it's so incredible because when I was growing up, I loved superheroes, I loved comic books, I loved fantasy fiction. But really, the closest thing I had to someone who looked like me in that world was Wonder Woman. And she's amazing, and I was madly in love with her. But it's not necessarily a perfect fit as far as the background. So now knowing that little girls in the world and little boys have a character like Symmetra, who they might identify with because of her ethnic background, because of her being on the spectrum, because of her being in a STEM field, because of her being a powerful woman, and these young girls want to be a powerful, like, to know that little kids have more and more options of people and characters that they can identify with. I say this a lot about why I love superheroes and depictions of superheroes in books is it's our modern mythology, right? The Greeks had Zeus and Athena and all of those, and those were aspects of who they are. Okay, well, we have Marvel, and we have Overwatch, and we have Apex. And when you can see yourself in the hero, then you can see a little bit of the hero in yourself, and you take that out into the world with confidence and power and agency. And so knowing that some little girl somewhere will be able to look at Symmetra and be like, yeah, I can be an architect, and screw anyone who thinks that I can't. Or some little boy will see her who might be struggling with figuring out how to handle life as someone on the spectrum and realize this can actually be used in some ways to my advantage because my mind works differently than other people. And I want to see how does it work differently in my favor? It's just mind-blowing to me. It makes me so happy. It's the first time in my life that I really feel like my career and my life mission of helping people figure out what they want and getting it. You know, what's your superpower? What do you love? What's your passion? Let's figure it out. Let's figure out how to get it. Those two things have come so in line with each other now, since moving more into these performances and this particular world, that it's just incredibly happy making.
Oh, it's so beautiful. I love how you say that, where when someone can see themselves in the hero, then they can see a little hero in themselves. That's so powerful.
I mean, we see it all the time, right? We just saw it with the passing of Chadwick Boseman. How many children were affected by the existence of Black Panther? How many young children finally were like, this isn't the token. This guy is in charge. This guy is this movie. This guy is the hero. Mm-hmm. And for them to have that, and then for them to be able to see him in real life as a hero, and then for them to be able to say, okay, I can do this too. Like, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
It is. Truly, truly remarkable. So, Anjali, I think we're getting close to our time, unfortunately. I'm loving this conversation, but can you quickly just talk about like what's next for you, what projects we can see coming from you in the future?
Sure. Right now, I can't talk about any of the game projects that I am working on right now because NDAs, which, as I said before we started this interview, you know, NDAs make interviews a lot less fun, but they make the product that comes out later way more fun because they are a surprise to people. So for anyone who's bummed that we can't talk about things and are keeping them a secret, trust us, it's more for you than it is for us. But I do have a movie coming out that I'm very excited about. It's called Evil Eye, and it is a dual production, but it started with Blumhouse, and it is produced by Priyanka Chopra, and it is actually a thriller, a psychological thriller. With an all-Indian cast, with a mostly Indian cast, but all Indian leads. And so that, I believe, is coming out in October. So keep an eye out for that. And then I have a couple of other movies coming out. And then on my socials, I still have my web series, which I've been doing for the last few years, called I Am Fun Size, which is, it's not specifically gaming related. It's not specifically, it's related to life, because I started doing it because, fun size, obviously, generally speaking, refers to people who are tiny like me. But I also feel like all of us are built for fun. We're all fun size, but we don't always feel that way. So what do we do to be able to make ourselves live into a bigger life? And what can we do to work through challenges? So it really is more about that. I answer questions from people who write in, and I also do interviews with fellow performers or fellow people in various industries to ask them about some of their tips for people to make their lives fuller and bigger and for people to enjoy them more. So that is on the YouTube at my same handle.
All right, so one last thing before we let you go. Where can people find you? Where can we keep up with your work?
You can find me on Instagram, on Twitter, and on YouTube at Sweet Anj with 3 E's, so SWEETANJ. You can find me on my Facebook fan page, which is Anjali Bhimani, just my name. And I don't actually stream on Twitch, but I do go to a lot of friends' variety of streams, so you'll see me pop up all over the place. A variety of people's streams, so keep an eye out for me there too.
Awesome. So we'll keep an eye out for Evil Eye, and you may be fun size, but Anjali, your impact is enormous, and we thank you for being with us today. Thank you for your work.
So much. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Anjali Bhimani for giving us her time, and for Rihanna Manuel for doing a fantastic job with that interview. If you guys want to check out some of Anjali's other content, of course, we'll put those links down below. And we hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Don't forget, there's no What's Good Games Live on Monday, but we'll be back at the end of the week with your regularly scheduled podcast. Until then, be good to each other. Goodbye, everybody.